Hello, everyone. Welcome in. This is NECC. I am Wheel Ku. I am joined by my co-caster, my partner in crime, the transcendent Treasure. How you doing, Treasure?
Oh, I love that. And it's a perfect one for tonight. I'm doing really good, and I'm so excited to bring this conclusion to our spring semester. It's actually our final normal broadcast before we get to nationals as well. So we're really capping off the entire NECC spring semester right now.
Yeah, grand finals. This is it. This is the Legends division as well that we're going to be casting here. So the top of the top, right? The top of the pyramid. We're going to see the cream of the crop go at it and see who can come out on top. So let's take a look at the bracket, though, see the journey that has brought us here. As you can see, Purdue Gold, number one seed. And you brought an interesting statistic up about them. I'll let you talk about that in a second, but then their competitors. Waterloo Gold came out on top of Columbia, a little bit of an upset there, third seed beating the second to give us this matchup between the 1 and the 3.
Yeah, so on one side, Waterloo has definitely been doing some work finding that upset in the postseason to make it all the way here. But on the other side, some terrifying numbers. Purdue has 2-0'd their way through the entire season, including their postseason match against Ottawa Garnet. And they have shown no signs of stopping. They haven't even lost a sixth round in any individual map. They're looking so dominant that no one can even take them to overtime, much less take a game, much less series. So Waterloo has to climb a steep, steep hill, and they are the reigning champions as well. So this is a big David and Goliath story we've got right here.
Yeah, back to back. We'll see if they're able to do so. But on to the next thing. We have to see the lineups. What are the players' names and what are their backgrounds? Perhaps a little bit of information here. As we can see, Purdue up first. We have Laggers, Providence, Goose Mitty, Mila, and Hangman. You can see a lot of seniors and juniors. So they are a little bit older, a little bit wiser, perhaps more experienced. And then we'll see on the other side what that lineup looks like.
Yeah, so showing up for Waterloo. These are both the gold lineups as well, which is a little bit convenient for us, and it really goes into this transcendent lineup that we do have for today. The gold teams on either side vying for the very top spot, and representing for Waterloo, we have Samwise, Ultra, Gerv, Suvin, and Dez.
So a little bit younger. You can see juniors,
Yep.
sophomores. So we have the last hurrah on the side of Purdue. None here though on the side of Waterloo. So at least they'll be able to see another season if they can't cap off the season with a win. But even if they did, it's still a good way to go into your next season. On the other side though, a lot more at stake for them as they don't have many more chances here in collegiate scene. On to the next thing, though, is the maps, right? Where are we going to be watching this unfold? It's a best of 5, so we're going to see some couple bands up, Bank and Club, and then the rest are all going to be played out. Villa, Coastline, Chalet, Cafe, and of course, the decider, if we get there, is going to be Oregon. So if one team gets the first 3 maps, it's over. So it's a best of 5. So at least 3 maps here, Tresh. So we're in for a little bit of a run.
Yeah, we'll be able to stay tuned in all night. It might go pretty late if we get there, if Waterloo is able to take this to the very ends there, if we have that chance of seeing a little peek out of Oregon at the end. But otherwise, we have quite a formidable map roster that we're getting to look at here. Clubhouse and Bank being bans, the Bank hasn't been uncommon at all to see. Clubhouse is a surprising one to see banned out, especially so early.
It is, but at the same time, it is one of those bread and butter maps. And I think, that being the ban of Waterloo tells us a little bit about what that means for Purdue side of things. Obviously, a scary team. They haven't been defeated on a single map, but that might be just the map that they have shown the most dominance on, I imagine, if that's why they're banning out. Or perhaps it's just their weakest map. Either way, though, we're going to start here on Villa, and Purdue is going to be on attack. This is a map that the operator bands can really shape what it's going to look like because we've seen it be both attacker or defender sided.
Yeah, absolutely. This one can really swing depending on exactly how a team is going to play it because you can play very roam intensive and harry the attackers for a long time. But there's a lot of counterplay around that. Just pincing directly onto site is a really big part of the counterplay here. And it depends on where they're going to be going as well because all 4 sites are quite viable here on Villa.
And they are. Now, looking at the bands, with Thatcher's the first one, so nothing surprising there. I think the next couple bands could be a little different, but we'll find out. It's going to be Flores. So, this was one of the first maps known for the shield play. We saw it on Cafe, of course, and Pixel, but this is another map that stands out to me on Classical Hallway and top of main stairs. It's 2 real pivotal positions to place some shields, obviously, other places as well around the map. And Flores is the specialist of eliminating those shields. No longer a viable option. Cade coming through as another ban, obviously one of the most favored when it comes to denying the hard breach and getting open lanes into sight. He's going to be gone, though.
Yeah, and at this level of play, we do see a lot of this vertical play really coming into account. So we're going to see teams make great use of grenades from below, and that's a reason for banning out Valkyrie. She's very good at counterplay in vertical, especially when you look at like trophy room and you look downstairs in the kitchen where you're going to go below to be knocking out the bandit charges that are probably going to be used on the quad wall in that room and statuary between it and master bedroom, as well as the shields that are going to be pretty relevant on this map, especially with the Reteras completely removed from play.
And as you look at the lineup, I imagine we'll find out in a second here, but I imagine Alibi and Smoke each capable of bringing a shield. So that's at least two. The Smoke's going to bring it. So at least one, maybe the Alibi brings impacts. Who knows? We'll find out. But either way, as you mentioned, going to be placed in some pivotal positions on the standard bomb side of Aviator games. So not surprising. On the other side, we do see, though, they're bringing their own shield, the Montaigne being brought out right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that's a neat little insight for us to see. Clearly, it's not going to be something that gets shown to Waterloo anymore since that change has come through. But we get to see that it's at least something on the mind of Purdue right now, something that they're willing to bring to the table. And before I think they get much information on the site or anything, they've actually made a couple swaps even. I don't know if that was really quickly getting a little bit of information or if that was just what they were thinking during the loading menus anyway, but swapping out the Maverick and the Ash.
Nothing too surprising here. Standard setup. They're going to opt to open the, well, depending on your perspective, but if you're looking in from the attacker's point of view on study, the left wall soft, so the normal wall that you'd have soft there, so they can have some angles into study from that vault door. And of course, you do see some of the shields being placed right now in those areas we had brought up before, classical hallway, and then of course main stairs. So nothing out of the ordinary. The only thing that we really can highlight is that shield was switched away from, so now Finka being brought, and then of course the Amaru being the real oddball in this lineup on the attacking side. The Jackal, I think, could net some gain here, but you got to be careful with him as well. You can't overly rely on it to clear out the roam game for you. But the entry coming through over here in the bedroom area. Lagger is going to find Gurv to open things up. So Purdue starting off hot.
Oh my god, starting off plenty hot. Lagers finds a second one as he's made its way directly to sight, but Ultra is going to put a stop to him. SMG-11 right to the head, stopping him from coming into map room. But there's plenty of pressure on the other side too, as we already see Mila taking up point on the hallway. So Classical has been fully overtaken by Purdue already. They've recognized that there aren't going to be many defenders over here. And Hangman, though now we saw pushing in very early as well, makes his pick. He's going to get picked right back by Suvin there, who finds two for it with his EBR.
Why would Goose Smitty jump there? I don't know, but Suvin gets a freebie on the red stairs. They're just jumping down over him. They were not aware, and it seemed like Providence even had information. He was watching it, and there was a player coming up, and yet his teammate jumps over and gets killed for it. Now it's a 2v2. The advantage by Purdue given away, and these last two players, Providence and Mila, are going to have to try and figure out what to do here. That is diffuser down as well. The player who jumped over had it in their pocket. That's, oh my god, what a blunder. Unfortunate, but now these attackers have to figure out a way to recover it.
Oh, that's going to be exactly what they need. Mila finding the kill right before Suvin does, who is in the middle of repositioning. And Province, I think, just face peeking this one, looking for an opportunity to just see ahead a little bit quicker, and he does so quite successfully.
That was beautiful stuff coming out from Purdue, getting those peaks. Obviously, Waterloo had a great fight back to bring it back to 2v2, but unfortunately, just the gun power from Purdue is just too much for them. The thing to highlight too is just the guns that they're bringing. It's hard to counter it. The G8 with the Amaro, of course, the Black Ice, got to give a shout out for that. It's beautiful skin on the weapon. But in general, seeing them being able to bulldoze and bully their way through the map and into sight even, Waterloo, they're going to have to find a way to match this aggression. I thought those shields would help slow it down, but they didn't even get to the shields until after the first points of aggression had already gone in favor of Purdue. And we got to really watch out for that push in from bedroom. Maybe allocate a shield in that direction, in that area, because otherwise they're just going to give so much control. And if they're going to do that, then at least they need to play their lives a little bit better.
Yeah, I think a big thing is the Classical shield not being played by the time that attackers actually made it into Classical, which is very early on in the round. So Purdue was able to take a ton of ground without any resistance, and then they were happy to take some gunfights with players in sight, and they showed some brash confidence that absolutely stands out and absolutely stands head and shoulders above what they saw in round one. So that's a terrifying start. I mean, I don't envy Waterloo here taking a first round that ended within half of the timer going down, just because Purdue's going to force gunfights that they're happy to take.
A little bit of a change in the lineup, Malusi being brought, and then the Mozzie being brought on the defense. So only going to go with the smoke shield this time. Obviously, they, as you mentioned, they didn't play the shields too much last time. The aggression came on the opposite side of the map, so it didn't have much of a chance to But the attackers, they're not changing too much. Now, they're going to recognize that there are some players playing over here. And Gurb going to be, again, one of the first points of aggression. And he's going to get down. Might be the opening kill yet again. We'll see if they can complete that. But otherwise, they do at least have this control now that they have cleared some of these players off. There it is. Providence going to finally finish that one off, giving Purdue a man advantage here. Samwise had backed away onto red stairs. Dubs probably have that C4 in pocket, I imagine. The footsteps are going to give away their position, though, and they're going to have to retreat even further.
Yeah, we're seeing some great gameplay here from Laggers, finding a ton of ground using the Jackal ability, just like you said, to get... Oh my god! So much ground gain, but even as he falls, Mila's gonna find 2 kills, just immediately holding that trigger and turning on the next angle, making sure that Classical's once again fully dominated for him. Dez and Suvin looking hard-pressed in sight, just trying to hold on to whatever ground they have. So Suvin, once again, finding the first kill for his team.
Ooh, Heyman just missing the shot narrowly onto Suvin in the study. A 3v2, so Waterloo at least brought it back from a 4v2, but still more work to be done here. And plenty of time for Purdue here. There's a lot of shots coming in their direction. Goosemity going to be the one to find that headshot and get the kill. All up to Dez now, trying to get some shots through the wall. They have no explosives on the Jaeger here, so it's a gunfight to the death here, and a 1v3 plant going down. It's complete. Gets one at least for his trouble, but now a post-plant 1v2 situation, and they only have a limited amount of time with that diffuser done. And Dez, with the limited amount of HP, has to win some ones here, and they're going to back away even, just trying to play the time. He's going to go for the defuse, probably baited out. Some shots from below might hit him, but he's going to actually just go for the complete bait. The grenade's going to make him get off of it, buying even more time for these attackers. There's not a lot Dez can do. He has to go up for the push, but they're not even giving him any signs of life. He's not going to have anything given to him. The swing out with the grenade does cost a life, but Goosemiti's there to get the refrag.
I love the impact of Mila right here. I love using the grenades as some area denial, just cooking them up and making sure that he's not going to be showing any skin, not putting up any risk of getting killed in the post-plant situation. And the grenades are a very real threat of death, and them just sitting there for like a half a second before the fuse is actually going to finish off while it's on top of the diffuser is going to take away actually so much time, because you have to fade away from the diffuser and come right back to it and try and get typing. Again, it was unwinnable at that point just through clean post-plant play from Purdue.
LMG supremacy. That's what it is right now.
Yeah, it really is.
We've heard the devs talk about some potential nerfs coming in for those, but at the moment, it's not yet in. So I think LMG go burr, get some kills, and that's exactly what you expect. Again, got to match the aggression. We did see some good play coming out, but I think, again, man advantage being in favor of Purdue almost the entire round. It comes on the back of those early points of aggression not working out for Waterloo. They've lost Gurb 2 times now, opening death for the entire round. And that's not a good stat to have in your pocket. That's not a title that you want to be given. Hopefully, in their case, they can play it a little bit more passive, because that is a Malusi. That is one of the better guns in the game. You expect them to frag out. You expect them to at least be annoying and to buy more time. And so far, they just haven't been able to do that. So that's something to watch out for, a player to watch out for. I don't know who the IGL on this team is necessarily, but whoever it is, they got to get a little bit of chat going forward.
My suspicion is we just need Gerv to be in a safer position and be ready for the aggression in the first 30 seconds of the round, because Purdue has pre-placed drones exactly where they want to go in. They're hiding them pretty well because they're consistently not getting shot out in the prep phase or even into this early section. So they're able to immediately open up the window that they want to go in, walk right into the room, and they're immediately coming in guns blazing as well. So Gerv has just been walking around in a room, not quite ready for that aggression so early, and just is getting slammed for it super early.
Ultra finding Laggers is the opening kill, so this time Waterloo going to have the advantage themselves, not giving up that opening death. Laggers does the Jackal as well, so that's a lot of utility gained on the side for Waterloo. They're not going to have to worry about getting tracked any further. They can roam without that at least being a terrifying concern. In the meantime, the drones are coming through, but these Meat Jammers are stopping them from getting as much information as they like. Providence does find Dez to even out the man count. About 2 minutes in, Subin, though, with that nice fadeaway shot, Providence shut down.
That's great. Suvin continuing to be that star gun for the defense on Waterloo. Finding a second one in this round, that's Oh my god, almost 2 kills every round. But Mila is going to put a shutdown onto that one. Mila, the star on the other side so far for this map, is going to even things up a little bit. But Purdue is still behind on player count. They've lost a lot of entries here, which is very different from the last couple of rounds. So now we get to see them play a round that's going to shake up pretty differently. They have to play from behind, so they can't run around and just take gunfights with absolute abandon. They have to slow things down and use their drones to find more intel.
And as you say it, so it is. They are droning out. They know it's a 2v3, so it's not unbeatable, but certainly the odds aren't in their favor. At least they're going to stack up here, try and get a player in. There's no one holding the angle, not super aggressively. At least Mila somehow finds that kill on to Gerv to shut down, and a 2v2 now envelops, and a lot of HP actually on the side of Purdue in comparison. Samwise, one shot, they're dead, and there it is. Goosemitty getting that shot, and the plant trying to go down, but they're not sure of the position of Ultra. He has the shot on Namila. They get off the plant. They're aware of his position, but they're not able to land the shots. A 1v1 is not going to happen, but Goosemitty is able to shut it down, win the clutch, and Purdue continue on.
No signs of stopping here. Definitely a slowed down round there with 3 early picks going to Waterloo. But even with angles being held, Purdue knows what they're looking for. They're pre-firing really often, and like you said, with the LMGs, there's a lot of luxury with that. But Goosemitty also with a 21-round magazine, counting the extra one on top, is doing a great job of finding heads before a player who's been staring at the same angle is going to find him.
Gerv unfortunately held the angle and even had the shot, but didn't take it immediately, and they were punished for it because the Finko was watching that angle as soon as they jumped in through that window. So unfortunate, but it is what happens when you go up against an LMG and your reaction speed just isn't quite up to par. This guy's going to go back to that bomb site. Obviously, they've had no success on either bomb site that they've attempted so far, so it's really just pick and choose. You gotta hope something different happens here, because so far it's getting away from them. Purdue on attack, and this is not looking like an attacker-sided Villa when you look at the bans, when you look at how things have played out. Waterloo have had a chance to close out some of these rounds. They just haven't been able to do it. Those last-second pushes in at the dying parts of the round, Purdue have won those gunfights, and that's been the difference.
I like the switch here from Gerv. We've put a little bit of attention on him. He's having a hard time finding a foothold in the early rounds, especially. Holding on longer that round, we'll give him credit for that. Not first pick or anything. But the Vigil, I think, is actually really good because our assessment earlier of it being drones, or at least my assessment, is that the drones are really what's finding him out early. So there's going to do a lot to kind of mitigate that effect and help him to find some early picks. And we know Purdue is vulnerable. They can lose first pick. We've got the proof of it. That is right behind us in last round. So putting him in a position where he's going to be able to excel a little bit more there, even if he's not bringing the wub-wubs to the table, I think is going to be quite helpful.
Interesting lineup. We have Osa, we have the Gridlock, we have the Glaz and the Ying, and every single one of them, including the Twitch, actually, all smokes, only to help enable this Glaz who can see through the smokes with their gadget, and then on top of it, the flashes from the Ying. It's gonna be an interesting lineup. We don't see this brought very often, but it is definitely showing the versatility that Purdue can bring in their lineups. They're just trying to keep Waterloo guessing as to what they're going to be up against. The push in from Providence, there it is. The Ying Gandela's coming through, netting them a kill, but Gerv is there for the refrag, getting their first kill in this matchup, coming alive right when they need them. Don't want to let this slip any further, but Dez is going to fall to Laggers. Mila on the backside. They don't even know about the repel somehow. Laggers finding one. It's all up to Ultra and a 1v4 situation. They're over by Wolf Window. They're not even anywhere near this. And now it's a post-plant situation. Not even going to be any easier. A team kill at least is going to help them, but not for long. Hangman puts them out of their misery. Purdue looking dominant.
Well, it is all surprises on this round, and even with some early picks and Gerv getting a big shutdown there, stopping Provident from keeping up his reign of terror isn't going to be enough. And once again, Ultra left all alone to deal with that encroaching wave of smoke and flashbangs.
That was just chaotic. And you can see Purdue really thriving in that chaos. They're just not afraid to take the gunfights, and that's been the case the entire map so far. They've really just been able to push in, swing, and get some kills, and Waterloo are just on their heels, not able to just fight this off, get any real fight back much at all, in fact, and especially that last round. Obviously, you can see that perhaps it is starting to get to them. That was the worst round they've put up so far because the kind of curveball that was thrown at them, that was an odd lineup.
Yeah, I think they reacted to it a little poorly as well in the middle of that flurry. Not mid-round, but middle of the execute. That round was basically entirely just a big execute. Two players actually stepped up, and if there's a glass, if there's smoke with a glass, you got to stay in your location, because if you're there and you haven't been shot yet, it means you're safe. And taking another step forward where you can see smoke means that you're gambling on whether or not a glass has eyes on you. And Ligers did have eyes. He took a life away and another one, not from himself, but it was two players stepping up simultaneously and peeking angles where they did not need to and really should not, especially when they're being pinned by smokes.
I could see the thought process in the lineup that we're saying. Gerv getting that opening kill on the lagger as well, opening things up. Now, I will say that the opening kill, when they had it last time, they were in a 3v2 at best during that round, but they still ended up losing out. So Waterloo, even though they have this man advantage, they've shown that it doesn't always really end up doing much for them at the end of it all. Now, this looks like a fast push. The thing is, there is Capcan on the board, so that could cost this Monte some HP. There's going to be the C4, though, taking him out. So Monte already done. It's a 3v5 now without that shield. This is looking a lot harder. There's no vertical play either, just a straight push in. There's the Capcan trap coming into play. Gerb getting killed by Hangman does at least help out a little bit for Purdue, but they are in a dangerous position. There is also that plant down the diffuser. They can't pick it up without going into those sight lines. This is looking like a hard round to get back for Purdue.
Especially with Goosemitty now stuck on the shotgun. He knows there's eyes right above him. He saw that C4 blow up the hatch earlier. He's looking for it as well with the pre-fire on the shotgun, but it's not going to quite find his mark. Samwise is able to drop down. He's got eyes on a player outside as well after taking a bullet, but he's not going to be able to hang in there much longer as Hangman is going to take him out. He knows the diffuser is well under eyes of 3 players, but Hangman's still feeling quite confident in his gunplay, so he just needs to gather a little intel, leave his teammates to tell him a little bit about what's going on, but he's going to be foraying into the dark.
You know, I was about to comment on this lineup. I was like, I can see what they were doing. They brought the Legion, they brought the Capcans. It's like they're just trying to slow them down, and I was going to credit it, but I was also going to be a little cautious because the weapons on the board aren't always the most wieldy. And you're not used to playing them very often, right? Like, who plays Capcan that often? Like, it's brought here and there, but sometimes it can catch you off guard. It doesn't have any recoil, so maybe that even throws people off. But here, they've shown that they are capable of it. They have found the cure to their problems. They've been able to slow down the push. Now, in a 1v3 situation, Hangman on a triple kill. He has all the kills so far in this round for his team, but still 2 more to be found. He finds 1 more, a quad. Can he find the last one laying down in the corner to his left? He's going to walk through, but he's going to get caught unaware. Ultra able to hang on to that man count and bring it into a round 1.
Okay, Ultra worth so much to his team right here. Finding that opening kill with the C4 and closing things up as well with that last kill. Just denying the ace and what would have been a terrifying and just exhausting round to have lost. But putting 1 in Waterloo's name here is big. They are feeling on the back foot here, though. Purdue is still looking dominant. They're pulling out some weird strategies, and they're going to be keeping Waterloo on their toes. 1 victory isn't going to be enough to bring it home for them here, and already 4 rounds on the attack is big.
The thing, too, was Purdue did feel straight into what they were hoping. They're hoping they'd rush in. Get a Capcan kill, get a C4 kill, get a peek out on a spawn kill. Everything went Waterloo's way, and it's great. But a lot of those things are hard to replicate. It's hard to replicate a spawn peek. It's hard to replicate that C4 kill because that was on a shield player who moves very slowly, right? It's a lot easier to get that player versus someone else who's more elusive. So a few things going their way, but they can't rely on those trick plays. They have to find a more solidified answer.
And what they're bringing here, just some more basic stuff. They got the Capcan again, has found some success. The Aruni as well, which is definitely, we get to see a bunch of times in the first person perspective that Purdue players see that and they stop for a second. They go, is this grenade worth it? And a lot of times they're saying yes, but it's given that moment of pause and it's going to be whittling away some resources. And we've seen, obviously frags can be worth an entire life, and they've been worth a free post plant already in this match as well. There's 6 of them up, so whittling away any of them that you can is real nice. That's a big benefit to the Arunis, especially in tandem with Jaeger's ADSs. So mostly stock kind of stuff here from Waterloo, but they're keeping the Capcan up. They got to keep Purdue guessing.
Well, also, Subin getting kills with that DMR on the Aruni. So not only bring it for the gadget, but clearly they've been having success with it. So it makes sense to continue where you've had success. Now, Gerv on the roam, not going to play as aggressively above where they've been picked off before, but Hangman does seem to also be on a similar floor. Now, not necessarily in the same position, but they could run into each other over time here. But it looks like Purdue's actually going for a bottom take. They're trying to clear out, throw some nades up. This might catch that player who is in vault, and it does indeed. Providence getting that kill onto Dez. That's the Jaeger. Ironic that they get taken out by a grenade when their gadget is the direct counter to it. But Subin getting a refrag back. Hangman continuing, though, doesn't want to let Purdue lose that man advantage they had gained, taking out Ultra.
Players coming up these red stairs. This has been really hard for Waterloo to contest. They haven't had a lot of pressure on classical or red stairs, or not any that Purdue doesn't just walk right through. They're nading up on their default position. The call comes out really quickly on that headshot to the back of Providence's head, and Curve is poised as well to take out Hangman. It's a 2v2 now, but there does have to be a retake from the defenders. Both of them are up here at the top of red stairs and in classical, and the attackers have already just moved their way back in. Amila is also watching a window, which is going to make it so hard to get this post plan.
Pushing up, Samwise trying to stop them. They know the plant just went down, but Lager's peeking up after planting, gets the kill, and Purdue are looking dominant still. One round they had given up, but after that, it's just been continuing on where they left off.
These pre-fires. The LMGs, just like you said, they give you so much luxury to just pre-fire anywhere that you suspect someone might be. I thought that one might be client-side debris or anything, but no, it looks like it was just, okay, it sounds like someone's in the hallway. Throw some G8A1 rounds down there. I mean, we got plenty to spare. We've got an entire drum to unload out there. So Purdue is already one off of match point. They got the 5-1.5, their first map on Villa. It is, to be fair, their map pick. This is their first map pick too. So this should theoretically be their strongest one in the entire map pool for this fight. So there is that to take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, but they're looking crazy dominant.
And to be fair, though, like they've 2-0'd everyone. So,
yeah,
I mean, what map is weak if there's? It's hard to really say.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. But you're right, it is their map choice, which does say that, you know, they prefer it. Of course, they let the other team pick something, but they did ban away, I believe it was Bank. So there's clearly something going on that map. So maybe something to look into in the future. Of course, the map pool will change after this as well, towards the more competitive pool that's been updated in recent times. So this might be the last time we see Coastline too, which I think will be the next map, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that'll be our map too. So we're guaranteed to go there. We'll get a little send-off for it since it won't be back in for next season, as weird as that is to say.
Either way, though, going back to Aviator Games, and they had, you know, had a great flank to give credit, but it came in a bit late, like you mentioned. The site control is already lost. So while Samwise and Gerv had some success there, pushing up, getting some kills each of their own, they were not able to then get the retake that was necessary to stop the plant and just seal the round off. Unfortunately, it was a post-plant situation, in fact, and they got sniped out and shot out by a G8. So it's not the way that you want it to go again. You want it to be a little bit quicker on that return to site. Now, looking at these players from Purdue, they didn't just rush up red stairs and just go for a straight site take here. We'll see if Waterloo's ready.
Yeah, Waterloo looking for a little bit of a gimmicky thing here. We saw some interesting plays from Purdue on their attack. They're not even bothering to clear out the barbed wire, and Hangman's going to be the first one finding a kill. Providence finds another as well. Gooseman, it looks like a blue sweep, especially as Dez is going to take out his own teammate before he finds Laggers. He's now stuck all alone up at the top of red stairs. He's going to confirm the kill, but C4 goes off from below. I don't think that's quite what finishes everything off, but there's just guns all around him, and unfortunately, running up red stairs, even though it netted some success for a couple members of Purdue, definitely was not in the cards for Waterloo.
Yeah, and I think I might have actually said Purdue rushing. My bad. But anyways, Waterloo, on their first round of attack, that's what they choose. They choose a rush strat. That's a sign of desperation to me. That's not something you'd normally go and be like, yeah, this'll be it. And they needed it, though, at the same time, because it is desperate. They were 5-1. Now it's 6-1, so they're more desperate. So it didn't really work out for them. But now they really have to just see what they can do to be successful, because you can't afford to lose another round. So another rush strat probably isn't in the cards for them. They're going to have to go for a more standard take. And really, they're just going to have to hope that Purdue feeds them a little bit, right? Give them some ones, give them some cross angles on some of these defenders being a little bit too courageous on their own, we'll say. And then maybe you can get that early man advantage and that's been, well for them. At least the rounds have been closer when they get the opening pick, which you'd expect. But certainly, we've seen when rounds get away from them, it's because they lose that opening game. It's usually
Yeah.
not very close, so they really need those opening picks more than anything.
Well, this is something that I was going to mention if the round had ended up going much longer, is that I think it's actually really in Waterloo's advantage to be on the attack because they can dictate the pace a little bit more here. When they're on the defense, it was just an onslaught from Purdue right off the bat. As soon as the timer goes into that 3 minutes, it's terrifying and Purdue's all around you. But while they're on attack, they can slow things down, and this is actually a lot more advantageous to them because the
Um,
crazy all-out combat is really going in favor of Purdue. So the rush strategy, I think, really played exactly into the deficit that they have, unfortunately. A little bit of a team kill. It might just be a BM, honestly.
It was for sure. He's like, no, it's a mice pumping. You can't have it. And then just TK'd his teammates. So, whatever. Maybe it'll pay off for them, but it doesn't. Goose Smitty's going to get killed, and Providence actually does get that kill. So, never mind. Ultra going down now. Swing coming through for Gerv, and actually finds the kill with that LMG in the face of Laggers. Hangman and Providence. Providence being that one on the roam earlier on. Has to try and recollect, find a way to win out this 2v4 to seal off the map, or else at least they're giving a little bit of a life to Waterloo. That push coming in from the south side, going in through Wolf Window. Hangman seems to be aware of it. They're going to try and at least contend with this push in, but so far, nobody's being fed in yet. Waterloo know they can play this, and there's plenty of time for them to just figure out what they want to do here.
Yeah, throwing in some nades here, getting a little bit of team damage. Not quite what they're looking for. They just need to scope out Hangman, find exactly where he's coming from.
Oh, no.
A team kill is not what they want, especially not on Suvin, who's been playing quite well so far today, but Gerv does find Providence, leaving Hangman all alone. He's going to find Samwise, though, and he's going to continue holding up in Trophy, backing off a little bit, and he knows his setup better than his opponents do, so he can just keep taking more angles. He's done a really good job of playing aggressively and keeping his opponents doubting. There you go, right there.
Oh, no!
Doubting and outing Dez. Gerv has to do the self-res, but it's just not going to be in the cards. There's plenty of lines of sight on him there still, and a really, really quick map, one being just stomped through by Purdue.
Hangman clutching out there with the wild peaks. The coverage just not good enough from the Finca. They get shut down. Then the planter didn't jump off in time. It was obviously very quick, so can't fully fault them there. But either way, Purdue showing us why they are the 1 seed, why they have 2-0'd every team up until this point. They are looking on fire. Waterloo have to find some water if they want to put out that fire and continue to live on, or else they can get some third-degree burns and maybe not even recover.
Yeah, so that's one for the clips folder for Purdue. But moving to Coastline, that's a Waterloo choice, this map. So we're going to be hoping that it will help them out. It is another pretty gunfight-intensive map, though. A lot more gunfight-intensive than Villa, for sure. So switching up that gameplay, finding a way to keep Purdue playing at their own pace is going to be paramount to slowing this one down, which I think is going to be key here, unless Waterloo has something real exciting out the books that I'm going to be totally just as surprised as the rest of you on.
Well, we'll find out soon enough, but we do have a short break, as always, between the maps, so we'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back with NECC R6 Finals. I'm still Treasure, and I've still got Wealku right here with me. We just ended our blazing fast first map on Villa. Purdue showing us just why they've been on top of the league for all this time.
Yeah, just so dominant, and it's really the gunfights that scare me on this new map of Coastline, which was chosen by Waterloo, like you mentioned, but that's more concerning to me because it didn't look like Purdue were like throwing any crazy strats at them. It was purely gunfights. They're just checking angles and taking the gunfights. They were doing like the swing or be swung kind of thing. They were swinging everything, and they just dominated. And Waterloo won on a round where they matched that aggression with traps and explosives, and it worked out for them. So maybe they can bring a little bit of that here. But on a small map like this, yeah, you might be able to get some more explosive kills because there's a lot of corners people can turn or get stuck in. But at the same time, there's so many angles to watch out for. And those angles have been in the control of Purdue.
Yeah, I think over the break I was thinking about this, and I think that what I really would like to see personally, at the very least, from Waterloo is just unchaining the weirdest stuff that they have, because Purdue's been happy to throw like a shield push and like a 5-man rush and a 10 smoke lineup on the attack. They've been willing to do some crazy stuff just to enable them to get into really meaty, grindy gunfights. So I want Waterloo to match that. Just no holds barred, rules of the jungle, just get ahead of Purdue and put them off kilter, because Purdue spent the whole last map just swinging from the side where Waterloo doesn't expect. I would love to see them flip that on its head.
Band's not surprising whatsoever. You got Thatcher. Floor is maybe slightly surprising. You could maybe have sounded like a jackal pick because it was used so much, by the last map. But
Yeah.
at the same time, that's not a huge concern necessarily. Obviously, getting rid of those cameras from the Valk is important, and then the Mira. And you don't need to get rid of any denial because there's not a lot of hard breaching going on this map. You don't need to open up walls. Things are just kind of as they are. With maybe a little bit of adjustments needed, which is why the Ace and Hibana are being brought. Maybe on the off chance that they think that they might be going like Penthouse. That's like the one site you need hard breach, or to open up some angles that they want from VIP. I don't know. It's actually kind of odd to see them bring two
Well, I feel like
hard
that's
breaches.
probably just guaranteeing that you get VIP open at the very least and VIP wall, so you get an additional angle into Pink Bar upstairs.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah,
Even
but
then, though,
putting
it's
two
kind of
full
gone away.
operators for it is a lot, yeah.
Yeah, two hard breaches. That's not what you see on Coastline very often.
Yeah, so they must be pretty focused on that if that was their immediate pick, and they're not immediately switching off of it either. On the defense side, we've got a Vigil. Once again, I think that's a nice option because the pre-placed drones have been pretty important all the way through this match already. So lots of roaming and lots of fragging potential. Basically, Providence being the only one not on a character that you can pick for the gun alone.
Purdue starting on defense here, so it's a little different. We saw it near the end of last map, but we didn't get to see too many defenses from them. So this will be a little bit more insight into how they do like to play on that side of the map. On the other side, though, they are going to be pushing on the attack for Waterloo. They're coming in from the complete opposite side. And the lineup, like we mentioned before, nothing too surprising, I guess, except for those two hard breaches. But they got the Jackal, so they can at least allow them to get more information, even if the drone work isn't completely on point. But outside of that, one LMG being brought, and they could have brought a couple more, I think. That's all right. Either way, they're going to be taking this slowly, and they really are going for that penthouse area VIP, it looks like.
Ooh, the holes in that wall definitely belie someone creeping about upstairs. We've seen Hangman pretty actively looking for an early kill up there by the main lobby door. No one's actually going there though, so he doesn't have an opportunity. The one lurking upstairs though is Laggers. He's been moving around quite a bit, hasting his way around the drones. He's using a gadget to keep invisible, but they know he's in the vicinity.
Yeah, it looked like maybe they're going for a silent pop through that door, and then they just fully blew it open, so I'm not sure what was going on there. But either way, trying to get in through Sunrise, go up cool vibe eventually here. That's one avenue. On top of it, we do see some other places being taken. In the penthouse here is the sledge, and then also seeing on different sides of the map as well, just different avenues being taken as attackers. So they are a little bit split up, maybe a little bit of VIP action as well. But Gerv can be holding down, I think, more of a flank, while the main push does come from the other side. Providence getting that kill into Ultra. The peek out from Lagers actually gets that kill on the Gerv. What a surprise that was. Now it's all up to these last three players of Waterloo to make something happen. They've lost ground. What they have gained hasn't really done much for them either, and time now wasted.
Yeah, and there still is a lot on the north side of the map that's pretty scary. You know that someone's out there looking for an opportunity to pinch on them from behind. Just closing one of them up, though, Samwise is going to find Laggers, and that's really good. He's the hardest one to track down. He's quite slippery up there if left to his devices. So the defense here is just looking to huddle down on their fortifications that they still have. A couple shields offer some great cover to fight at a huge advantage.
Peaks coming through from both Samwise and Hangman on that Jaeger. We saw Hangman have 11 kills, the only one with double digits in the lobby. Flash is going to actually hurt themselves, but Dez does find a shot on a Goose Midi. Hangman does take some damage, but Samwise can't land the headshot there. Would have been the kill. Now 3v3, 30 seconds remaining though, so these attackers have to figure out exactly what kind of push they want to do. They're kind of disjointed as well, not having the exact avenues that they'd probably like here to get some pinches going. In fact, we even see a little bit of a push away. Dez on that hookah balcony is going to be the point of aggression, though. Has to push and get a plant, and they need some help here too. Subin going to give them that help though. Mila taken out, but Providence stopping Dez from pushing in, does get that planter down. Now it's a 2v2, and they don't have planter in hand. The peak's coming from Providence. Shut them down. SMG-11 in hand. It doesn't matter. We can get those kills and get the round.
That's a 4K, all with SMG-11, just anchoring up, waiting for the kills to come to him. He's looking quite nice so far, and I noted earlier that he's the one with a less of a fragging gun. I mean, the SMG-11 does spit out bullets at a stupid pace, but I didn't expect him to just hole up on that wall and take any and all incomers.
That was disgusting. Had the shotgun kill earlier, so it wasn't all done with the SMG-11, but still three at least there at the end we saw get the SMG-11 kills. So that's impressive stuff. That's when you know that your support can get kills, when they can just land headshots like that, like it's no problem. Providence though probably has some experience on it. They were playing the Amaru and they have the SMG-11 as a backup weapon, so you imagine they probably pull that out once in a while once they've just laid down the left mouse button when they have the G8 and then they run out. They have to switch quickly to that secondary. So I'm sure they're used to it by now. Either way though, round one, they got to go to a different bomb site. They can't repeat it for a little bit. So kitchen service is where they're opting to go.
That last round, I'm a little bit worried about seeing Waterloo a little splintered, taking a lot of 1v1 gunfights. I think Laggers actually could have been shut down way earlier if an attacker had been on a rappel on main stairs. That would have been a great position. He actually had to be pushed out there by the pressure that Gerv was putting on early, but Gerv then was left in a 1v1 fight that just kept going, and with two roamers up there, he was bound to get pinched at some point, even if he was able to just stall out the 1v1 fight. And we saw that last a little bit longer as well, once we got to see, was it Samwise having that gunfight with the player on the shield for quite a while as well, just stalling out because they don't have pinching angles, and that's so important for dealing with the roam.
Hangman taken out early. That's the Jaeger, so it's at least not utility down for Purdue. But still, their top fragger from last map is done. Hasn't done too much yet this map, but it's early goings. Still, a man advantage for Waterloo will allow them to feel a little more confidence pushing in. The Samwise with a nice shot onto Laggers. What a strafe that was. Just completely shuts them down getting that headshot. And now they have a lot more control above. Plenty of time in hand, too. Not even a minute in. Subin finding Goose Midi. Things are falling apart for Purdue. They're just losing men all over the map. And now the last two are in a flurry of a gunfight soon enough as they're getting pinched from every angle.
Yeah, they're going to get some information here. We know that there's a player up top because of the sledge, but it's not going to do them much help. There's not anything they can do to act on it if they're covered from multiple angles. Mila's just been lying here in a corner. I think maybe just waiting for death to take him at this raise. Okay, back up and ready for the action, but he can't see anything quite until he finds Samwise and takes his head off right quick. No flawless for the round, but definitely no contest on the round.
Good attack coming through from Waterloo. This was something we hadn't seen really, is just winning those gunfights. And it really was a lot of ones that they just were able to capitalize on. It seemed like, and I could be wrong, but just the reaction speeds were way too fast. They had to have had information, is what my gut tells me. They had to have been feeding those information with drones, I imagine. Someone giving that information to Samwise to just push in and get those frags. Otherwise, maybe just common angles that they would pre-fire. Who knows? But that was some fast kills. No time to react for Purdue players. And Waterloo are looking a lot more scary than they had previous map.
Yeah, and like you said before, a lot of these rounds are going to be dictated by early picks, and taking both the roamers out so quickly, not even having to root them out for very long. And like you said, it has to come down to early intel and early picks, and that's going to leave a dominant round and a really sweet taste for once in Waterloo's mouth. They've got the 1-1 record. They haven't been able to keep even with Purdue so far in the match, and not in the previous series that they've played against them either. They're going back to Kitchen as well, so Waterloo doesn't have to change much here, and they just want to replicate last round.
10 seconds to insertion.
See what they're going to do as far as positioning goes, but some different ops have been brought. See Thunderbird making an appearance, and then of course the Capcans maybe trying to give Waterloo a little bit of their own medicine. They had of course been prey to it the last map where Waterloo was bringing the op and actually had gained a kill from it on that rush round that didn't pan out for Purdue, the one round they had lost, right? But in any case, we'll see if it actually nets anything. It was a quick push, but so far, it's looking like a little bit slower coming out from Waterloo. That opening pick, though, on Amila allows Gerv to get on the scoreboard a little bit more, and of course, allows him to have that man advantage that we've talked about being so pivotal.
But there are some additional tricks up the sleeve of Purdue here. Goosemitty's got some reinforcements downstairs in Blue Bar, which is a little bit interesting. He's going to get droned out here. I think he got it, but he's got to make definitely sure because it also exploded some paper. So he's got to be worried. He's at least been seen down there, which means that the Goon Squad is coming for him.
Minute in, already some bodies found. We're going to see the peek out coming through, and the shots do land. Laggers getting a kill on the Dez outside of the building. It was a smart heads-up play. And then another shot from Goosemitty evens it back up. So the fight back from Purdue brings it back to an even man count. Now the push in from Subin. He's trying to find that body, but he gets caught unaware. Goosemitty playing a little bit of a dance. Oh my God, Providence also finding a kill on the Ultra. Now it's all up to Gerv, who got that opening pick. And now they have to find a bit more. There's 3 more bodies to be found. Plenty of time. Goodman going to give a position away. There is one below on the white, but they're going to get caught from the 90, it seems. The peak coming through. Can't land the shot. Slagger shuts them down, and Purdue end up coming back and winning on that bomb site.
Well, we thought that it would be done if there was intel and early picks for Waterloo, but Purdue can show us early picks and intel right back in their favor, even if they are going to lose the first player. And they've got those interesting tricks, making Sunrise into a real kill room, just baiting as much fighting to happen in there as possible, which is still a couple rooms. I mean, well, just about 1 room off of actual site in Kitchen, but you can't go directly from Sunrise into Kitchen anyway. So even if Goosemitty was removed immediately, that's not an immediate entry.
Goosemitty, Laggers, and Providence each doing work to bring that into fruition, into a positive round for them. Obviously, they had lost their 2 buddies early on. Yeah, it didn't face them. They show that they are very capable of coming back from the man deficit. It was something Waterloo hasn't really shown us in the last map, and they haven't been in a situation to show us in this map. At least they've lost the rounds, they have lost that advantage. So we'll see if they have that capability, but it does show Purdue not just champions for the gun power, but also just the mental. They're able to stay with it even in circumstances that are less than ideal, able to come through. Now the Pulse is going to feed some information. That's going to be an interesting thing. Are they going to drone it out? Will they be aware of him feeding that information to the teammates? Are they going to hunt him down, try and shut it down early? On top of it, you also have a Oryx who can jump through hatches and just cause a lot of mayhem. So they have a little bit of another curveball like we had seen last time when they did that 10 smoke lineup. Here it's a little bit of a trickery on the defense.
Yeah, it looks like a curveball in every direction. There's lots of intel for the defenders, some intel denial between Vigil and Mozzie, and some player denial here from Mila specifically, taking out Suvin, making sure that he doesn't get that intel as the Jackal. I mean, they'll take any player, but that definitely is going to be hurting, especially since Suvin has been on it today.
Providence shut down now, so that at least can even up the man count. Gerb getting really good on opening kills for his team, at least. Obviously, in this round, it wasn't the first kill, but it's an opening kill for his team. A nice nade from Samwise finds Mila, shutting him down in that Sunrise area, gaining some control. We do see a player playing near that area at the front office, but they're going to dip away. They're not going to try and look through the courtyard at them, at least not as of yet. And the man advantage now in Waterloo's hand. Plenty of time. Again, these picks are coming so early, but on a map like Coastline, not super surprising. Some more information being gleaned from Ultra on that drone work. And now the attacker is feeling confident enough to start getting a little bit more into the building. Samwise shutting down Hangman as well, so things only going further in the favor of Waterloo.
This round is a sign of some recognition and action in the time in between rounds already. They've seen the weird stuff that they're going to be dealing with from Purdue, and they're immediately bringing up a lineup and some calls that are going to be the immediate answer. They take out the player in Sunrise that harried them so badly last round. The question is just going to be if they can win out rounds where they don't have the prior information, because they have to be pulling ahead. They can't back and forth rounds like this and come out on top, because eventually that last round has to go to one team.
Ooh, impact not landing. There's a player on the cool vibes, but they're not aware. The grenade will find them, though. They walked right into it. Samwise credited with another kill. I think that's a triple on the round for them. And Purdue drop another. This is more than last map already, looking better for Waterloo. Even round count.
Yeah, this is what we want to see. Great nades, great intel. Even with the denial, they're getting around the Mozzie and they're getting around the Vigil. And they're doing a much better job of pinching angles and swinging together on defenders. And that is worlds of difference when it comes to removing roamers.
It is certainly one of many check boxes, but clearing out roamers is really important, right? This allows you to get that man advantage on a small map like this too. So important. And in this case, now they have to contend again. They've gone 1-1 on each bomb site, and now they're going right back to the bomb site they were just on. Purdue hopefully have a little bit up their sleeve because they've been figured out a little bit so far. These setups, they know that the roam is going to be down below for most part, and they've been able to clear that out. So I'm wondering if they're going to change it up, maybe go for a more horizontal roam, not allow bodies to be found down below. Maybe go on a roam later, not from the get-go. Something to switch it up, because so far it's been a lot closer than they had seen last map. And I'm concerned that it could start getting to their heads, because they've had no real close matchups all the way through the season.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen a little bit of BMing even all in finals from them. So definitely they have bravado in spades. And we don't want to see it bite them, but I know Waterloo is looking for that opportunity if it shows its face at all. There's a couple shields on the defense here once again, and they've brought back the Wamai as well. That way there's a lot of defense for them, making sure that if it is going to be a lateral approach to the site from the attackers, that it's going to be a lot harder and a lot more resource intensive.
Drones coming through, guiding the way for, I think, Gurv. They've been pretty good at getting picks for the team early on in rounds. Providence not going to give up the body, though. Just taking out some drones and playing patiently. Samwise has been oftentimes the aggressor here in Sunrise. You're going to see the grenade coming through. Wamai disc protects them a bit. Another one singing through. The Wamai disc catches that one as well. So both nades now wasted, not able to clear it out as quickly as we had seen in past times. Oh my God, what a disgusting shot. Heyman taking out Samwise, opening kill for Purdue.
And he's looking for an encore as well. He's watching that same angle, and barely by an inch is that life preserved for Ultra. He's just right next to the bullet stinging by his head. At this point, Hangman knows that some pressure's probably going to be coming from the other side as well. So he's immediately flipping over to that other angle. But his teammates are doing a lot of work for him as well. He's still got magnets in the pocket. They're going to keep propagating. So he can just keep playing a little bit further back on the other side of the room. But he gets a little too bold. He's going to peek too many angles, and Ultra has been waiting on this one for a little bit. The man count is even here, and some Joni is going to go out on site. The attackers are going to be a little bit slower on actually getting their intel and clearing out ground, because they've had to deal with the first floor so much, though. So this might be something that starts wearing down on time.
3v3. Just over a minute remaining, as you mentioned. Drones coming through, but they don't have a lot, right? The players that are dead can't really help them with that, and there's only one in the pocket, 0-1 in the pocket also, but they do have that 0, right? And there's 2 more cams in his pocket, as well as the information that Jackal can gleam. So plenty of information they still can find. Now, how much time will it take? That 0 cam will feed the information. Millet doesn't seem too worried about it. They don't care if they know their position, but it does look like all the bodies are actually going to be allocated over to a cool vibes push here. There's one on the window and one below, or at least 2 below. Lager's finding one of them, though. That's Subin off the board. Now they have to find some answers, and they can't do it. Lager shutting down another. Dez now dead, and Ultra in a 1v3 situation. 30 seconds remaining. They do have Diffuser in pocket, but this is not looking like very optimal for them. They have to jump in. They have to go for some gunfights here and just hope that the ones are fed to them. The information from the cameras also being fed by those dead players. If you do, it's going to allow them to know where this is coming from. The shots trying to return, find a player who's prone, can't do it. Ultra just going to have to swing in, try and find some bodies. Not able to collect anything so far. 10 seconds remaining to swing through, and Laggers find another. Purdue staying on top.
Yep, they bought the time with the downstairs. Even if their players were removed pretty quickly, they actually moved some of the fortifications, making sure to have laggers playing full time on cool vibes. It's a really great power position, especially if you can hold it with some close angle guns, which Smoke is perfectly accustomed to with the Mossberg shotgun and the SMG-11. Those are the two deadliest things that exist in this game when you're up close and personal like that. So keeping him there and knowing that you've got the confidence that someone can find kills with that gun, it's going to make a stalwart defense if the attack is bent on coming up from first floor. There's not another staircase anywhere nearby, so that's their only option.
It was a good round from Purdue. They also, the round before that was very different, right? Because we had seen those
Defenders,
fraggers
protect your
get
bombs from being
impactful
defused by
kills. We
attackers.
saw Gerv and Samwise. Samwise, of course, with a 3K. But those are the two players who died immediately at the beginning of this past round that Purdue had won. And it goes to show that those fraggers in the beginning have had such an impact. Yet again, just to highlight it, but also when Samwise has a 3K and then they get shut down the next round, it's like someone else has to step up, and it just didn't happen. Now, they have one more round here on attack. Try and gather it back to even before they go to their defense, but this is, technically speaking, still an attacker-sided map from what we've seen, at least. Obviously, that can sometimes not be the case, but I would, for Waterloo's sake, knowing it's their map choice, they really want this even split.
Yeah, once again, the defense is bringing some investment in Sunrise. Okay, some investment in Blue Bar as well. That's probably just going to be more for him to be working with out there. But I like this Warden pick. They're going Kitchen. That's been kind of projected by the last time that they went Kitchen immediately after after winning out on Hookah. So that's going to be a projected thing, and they're watching for like a smoke plant, especially on service, which is still possible. It's a lot worse than it used to be, but a team that's looking to eke out some kills or some rounds is definitely going to be tempted to do that. So I like Purdue answering that before it ends up being a problem. They might find some more use for the Warden, but otherwise he's always going to be bringing an MPX and a shield.
You know, there's a little pet peeve thing going on, I have to say, is Goosemidi has a shield in his pocket. And the other two shields are down. If they're not going to put it down, why wouldn't they just use the C4 on the Warden and have him put his shield down?
Yeah.
Like, just a small thing that I just have to say something because it's one of those things. Like, why have utility you're not going to use? But in any case, we're seeing some drone work coming through. The attackers a lot slower so far, and Ultra killing themselves with the nade. That's not going to help Waterloo's cause here. They're in a 4v5 now, a minute in. Haven't really gained much, and Goosemidi has been deadly in this area, trying to shoot through the softball. Can't quite land the shots onto Dez, but at least more time bought.
This is going to be actually one of the hardest positions to fight. Goosemidi right there, he's at least a 50-50. He's better. He's statistically better than 50-50 on just taking the fights on the angle. Oh, here's something really close here. The Oryx isn't going to be able to run away and keep harrying the back line because Mila's taken out here. Suvin having enough intel to work off, watching for those little paw prints on the ground, and he stalks up and finds his mark. But Goosemidi's still down below. It's going to be just about impossible to oust, and you can't even come at it from two angles because Blue Bar is occupied by a couple of his teammates.
And the drop down, I think Suvin through the hatch did not work out. Heyman ready and waiting. Pounces, gets that kill. And like you mentioned, not a lot they can do. Dez does find laggers at least, so it's not all done yet. They still have a little bit of fight in them. A minute left to play with as well, so information can be gleaned. And plenty of information maybe on the Yana. She has those clones she could be sending in, but do they have the time to peek through? Providence able to get the double and shuts them down. Purdue getting the advantage, a 4-2 split.
Well, this isn't quite the same as last one on the 5-1 split, but still definitely Purdue looking and feeling good. This time they're going to be on the attack, though, and that's where we saw the utter dominance last map because Purdue just ran right through the site. If they're able to bring the same aggression, it's going to be all on Waterloo. The onus is on them to find an answer. They're going to try and slow things down for sure. I like the Frost pick right off the bat, going to service where there's some more things to be vaulting over, some more close angles that are a little harder to peek. They're not bringing the Capcan this time, despite the success that they had before. And I anticipate some vertical roaming as well, because I know if Purdue gets that top floor pressure early on, they're going to rain havoc down, especially with grenades.
Looking at the picks too, it looks like Purdue don't know what the bomb site is. This doesn't look like a comp or a
Attackers need to
team
locate and
lineup
defuse
that
bombs.
would really do that well on kitchen survey. I mean, it's not terrible, but I certainly expect them to switch some things out. And Mila on that Cali, for example, I mean, maybe they'll be on the Overwatch, but you'd expect maybe a Glass instead with some smokes or something else indeed than that. This isn't the bomb site. Maybe I think they're thinking hookah, get a long angle from ruins or something like that. It's my guess. You see some changes already coming through. Laggers actually being the one to switch off of the Jackal and onto an Osa, but they still don't have any vertical play here. They don't have a Buck or a Sledge.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And Nook is always going to be fascinating. I feel like that's just Laggers looking for kills at this rate. The one that's really surprising to see sticking around actually is Mila, though, with Cali. I mean, this is this service entrance watch, and is that going to be something that they can guarantee finding value on?
That's the concern too, because you can't plant in service door anymore, right? You have to go up to the double door with the window area, and that's not the same position at all. We're seeing some shots coming through, but nothing being gleamed just yet from either side. Some damage done, but no bodies found just yet. We see the sniping rifle trying to find that player in the sunrise, but not able to do so just yet. We see two red outlines above, so they certainly are going for that vertical roam like you had mentioned, but it seems that Purdue are just happy to take this one slowly, glean some information with these drones, and then decide exactly where they would like to push from.
At this point, oh, I love this. Just right where the holo site is covering up, there's a drone that's just been feeding the location of Gurr for a little bit. He sees it now, though, and he hasn't been punished for it at all, so he's still safe to be watching his ankle. Laggers has come from behind and executed Samwise, who's not expecting this, but the calls can come out. They're going to be watching the angle, and Laggers takes a couple hits. He doesn't quite find the head either on Gurv, but he is going to. Now as Gurv is pushed out into the lobby, and now there's someone really dangerous right inside sight. He's going to take another kill. That's 3 on the round. Sees friendlies and is going to be moving back out, just prepping the site. He's done a perfect job of sapping.
He's going to peek into lobby, but gets shut down by Subin, who was ready and waiting. If he had just peeked out with the gun ADS, maybe he would have got the kill there. Either way, though, 2v4 is not anything easy in a post-blind situation. That's the sniper rifle coming back to bite Yamila. Gets shut down. Providence shooting Subin, and Hangman finding Ultra will allow Purdue to continue on, getting more round differences and up to 5-2 now.
Despite having a weird pick for Kitchen, they were able to get a lot of success off of that off pick, that Nook, that, I mean, I admittedly doubted right there, but Laggers going for those hero plays, and it works out perfectly. Even if he dies a little bit early, I mean, 3 kills is more than you're ever expecting to get on a round. So job done and dusted, and another round in the books for them. They're keeping that Nook up, at least for now. We get to see that. Waterloo doesn't, so they have no idea whether that curveball is going to still be in the mix, but they're putting one in themselves. Penthouse and Theater for their second. They haven't touched Hookah.
We'll see if it stays in the rotation in the lineup in this case. We can see Penthouse and Theater, which is an interesting decision, but that's all right. They obviously need something to throw off Purdue, because Purdue, with that knock, for example, has thrown them up. That was something that they were not accounting for. They had just walked in. The cameras were probably trying to feed information, and yet knock is a direct counter. You can't see knock with those cameras. And so that was where that feigned sense of comfort, of safety, was used against them. That's what Purdue's been very good at, though. They've been constantly throwing different things at Waterloo. They can never get a full read on them. They'll switch it up almost every round. The lineup is different. And they're just going to continue to do that. Now we see Blackbeard and an IQ being brought. Maverick instead of Iana. So this is just an odd set of what are normally considered support ops.
Yeah, everybody's a flex this round over at Purdue. So that's going to be pretty neat to see how it plays out. I mean, obviously, Blackbeard is one that's not really taken with the intent of like adding to team composition. That's just more fighting, and I'm okay with that. I don't even have a problem. Like, no complaints here, because Laggers has already put down 2 3Ks on this map. He's on 9 and 5, as we can see, nice and bold over there. So making sure to just keep enabling him.
Because of the black eyes, because, you know, the F2 is awesome, but the Rico is, you know, somewhat hard to control depending on who it is. I have confidence that, you know, Hangman could control it, though, so it's an interesting choice. Either way, though, they get They refrag, they get the even man count, but they're not gaining a lot of ground yet. And we saw this last time. They had taken a little bit slower of an approach, and it was fine. It worked out for them. But the concern here is, can they have similar success? Because a knock is what made the difference. They snuck in, they got a 3K, and allowed them to get into sight and get a plan down. Here, you don't have that level of ingenuity, right? You don't have someone who can come up from behind like that. So they have to figure out a new avenue to get that advantage that they had gained here. A drop through, Samwise down, but so was Goosemitty, so it's all even on the board.
Yeah, here's a coordinated push between 3 attackers. And while a down has gone off, there's no confirmation. Hangman's going to clean things up, though, finding Gerv, making sure that his teammate isn't going to be falling prey to like an impact grenade from Theater or anything. And he's been in this extended gunfight. He's not got a huge advantage with the DMR, but Mila's there to back him up, just annihilating Dez entirely. 2 attackers on 2 defenders right now, but a lot less health on the defense side. And Ultra's been looking for a fight all around it. He just can't find it. Still, he's going to have to tell his location if he gets any closer to the Surya gate, but that's okay. He's got the carbine in his hands. He's going to annihilate Mila. It's the 2v2 as Goosemitty has been brought back to life, but Purdue has to make the move here. They've got diffuser and time starting to tick.
What they could do is still go for the defuse here and then get a... Oh, that's a down on the Ultra through the wall. Wow, what a shot. They're not even aware of it. They could go for a plant here and just have someone jump out of the window in the meantime. Plant coming through. It's all up to Samwise in a 1v2 as their teammate is down. Plant will come to fruition here because they're not moving. And now they have a chance to jump out, and there it is. That's going to be a huge obstacle to jump over here for Samwise because someone on that rappel is very hard to deal with. Now he could help his teammate up, at least have a better chance here in the 2v2, but still a lot of work to be done, not a lot of time to do it. 30 seconds on the clock. You still have a 7-second diffuser, a little bit more than that, in fact, so not any time to play with. They're going to have to just go in from different avenues, trying to find where the bodies are, but they don't know. They're unaware. There's one player in the closet. Hangman getting a kill, finding Ultra, and a quad on the round. Purdue up to 6-2 and on map points.
That is phenomenal. These huge multi-kills just keep coming out for Purdue. And while they're on attack, and even if they have some setbacks, they are still just looking so strong. They pull this one up to match point. It's been a lot more back and forth over the course of this map, but Coastline is looking just inches away from Purdue's. They're going to be bringing a couple more of these eyebrows for us, but all of it fell into place by the end of the round, wouldn't you say, Wes?
Definitely would say so, and it came on the back of the DMR just going and getting some good angles and shots through the soft wall there, and they had no answers for it. Obviously, the scope on that is going to be greater than any of the scopes that those defenders had, so they had a little bit of an advantage in that sense, but still, they just played it very passively, I think, is maybe the real problem. They also didn't even have a consideration for a C4 from below, which could have dealt with those 2 players getting in on the big window very easily, in fact, but they didn't. And in fact, it was just a completely horizontal gunfight. Did not work out for them.
Mila's still on the Cali, and he had a big last map. He's having less here, but he's not been put in fragging roles nearly as much as he was in Villa with the Finca pick. But it's fascinating. I mean, he did get a kill last round. He used the other one, other than Hangman, to put one up on the board. And he just adds a lot of threat. I mean, you see that 50 cal go whizzing by the head, and you know you can't peek anymore. And that's the value that he's bringing. Despite having lower kill numbers, he's actually getting a lot out of a flex support pick.
It's true. They've been able to get away with unconventional lineups, really. In this case, though, we're going to look at those lineups, and this is still more of the same.
Oh, God.
In fact, they have 2 snipers in the lineup here.
Yeah.
With the knock. The other 2 aren't so crazy, but it's still just a little surprising to see them continue on. But they've had success, so you can't really fault them for it.
Yeah, it's like, oops, all greedy operators, but I think they're going to find a way to fit all those puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, it's getting a little laggy for my end of things. Providence getting the kill, though, will open things up. Samwise off to the board, and it's going to be another take on to service. So they're just trying to find those avenues. And with the glass and the Overwatch on the service door, it's going to be hard for them to get away. But there's the interrogation by Ultra, completely surprising them. And now they're going to be trying to run away and regather this round.
Yeah, a lot of defensive shots coming out here. The player count is still even, though Purdue just had to keep that heavy attack off them. There's still some intel for Waterloo. It's going to stale pretty quickly, though, once those highlights have gone by the wayside. But Ultra is definitely pretty scary right now for Purdue. They got to root him out. They have found Suvin, though, instead, and Mila finishing that up, switching off to that secondary to get a nice SMG kill.
Well, that's a GG on that round, and that's going to be the map in favor of Purdue yet again. Another map, one more, and they will be the champions. And Waterloo, this is their map pick, and they got one more round than last map, but it wasn't much different.
Yeah, that one really fell apart real quickly for Waterloo, especially once they were on the defense. That's where Purdue looks the scariest. They're so coordinated. I mean, I've definitely said this. We had the opportunity to commentate a few of their matches over the course of this season, and it just gets tighter and tighter the further we go. It's been a few weeks since I actually did get to commentate them for full match last, and it's yet another addition to that level. It's another layer on top of the pyramid. They're so well coordinated. Even when they're doing something corny and weird, they still make sure that they've got the fundamentals, covering lines of sight, making sure that they're communicating, swinging together, and keeping their eyes on the objective so consistently. That's what makes them do it, even when they've got two snipers and a nook.
Right. They have that mechanical ability, right? They are considered one of the best, if not the best, collegiate team, not just NECC here, but
Yeah.
across multiple leagues. So, you got to consider that this is a giant, like you mentioned, this David Goliath kind of example, and certainly Waterloo probably feel that way right now. I know this isn't any easier for them, but we're gonna have a short break before we get to that third map. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. NECC here. We're in the Legends Division Grand Finals, Purdue versus Waterloo, both gold teams of those schools, of course. But so far, it's been pretty one-sided. Purdue looking dominant. We're going to go to Chalet, though. Any thoughts before we jump in, Tresh?
Yeah, I don't know. They've shown no signs of stopping Purdue so far. So Waterloo really has to make this final stand. We're on match point, so the stakes are at an all-time high with the championship on the line.
Back-to-back champs for Purdue, I believe, if they win this matchup here. Of course, guaranteed nationals regardless of the outcome, I believe, actually. But certainly going to be the one to beat there, or one of them. You know, I guess you could look at other schools too, but certainly the Titan. Looking at their position here, though, they're actually going to start on defense. And this is an attacker side of map, kind of like what we saw. So you see a little bit of slower play from them. You see Waterloo might catch a couple rounds, but then again, the switch around, what happens? Purdue looking pretty dominant on their attack yet again. So Waterloo, they're going to hope that they can get a little bit of an advantage here. They need a little bit better than that 2-4 we had seen last time. They want to gather a little more rounds than that.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this map overall for Waterloo. As long as they're just as comfortable with the angles on the map, I feel good about their ability to play with the play style here. They're doing a good job of taking picks, even if they're doing a lot of exciting things over at Purdue. They're getting some bans here as well that are going to be more particularly suited to the way that they've been playing today, Purdue. So the Glass and the Oryx, both of them pretty nasty things to deal with and hard to predict. And Chalet's a map where there's a lot of those check marks, those boxes that you have to tick through as you're making your way towards the site. And Glass and Oryx both are operators that can put some pins in that and complicate things for Waterloo.
You know, it's hard to know whether Purdue are just doing it to show that they are that dominant or if there's actual strats by bringing those ops. Then I lean to the former, to be honest. But either way, part of the game is also to get in the head of Waterloo. And when you've made them now go and target ban those weird ops that you've been playing, you've kind of won that game. They're probably looking at that as like a win for them to make them choose those ops. Oh, you want us to not mess around with these weird ops? Okay, we see you now.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll play a meta.
I know, right? Exactly. That's kind of what it feels like. But you know, I could be wrong. I definitely don't know these people's minds. I'm not a mind reader, but certainly feels that way, looks that way. Either way, they're gonna go to the standard bomb site upstairs for their first hold, and they're looking like a normal lineup.
Yeah, actually, notably with the operator bans, this doesn't mean that Valkyrie is out and ready to play for Purdue's defensive lineup, and that might be a bad sign here. Goosemitty's been really good at playing a support role and setting up his teammates for success. He's been great at finding success on his own with a bunch of multi-kills, and I don't see that slowing down with him having an MPX and plenty of cam to feed information to himself.
True, and they've been making good work of information, whether call-outs from teammates, information gleaned from bulletproofs, whatever it might be. They've certainly been able to capitalize, and now, as you mentioned, those Valk cams in pocket are just even more things that Waterloo have to watch out for. The lineup of Waterloo is looking slightly different. We haven't seen the Thermite really brought up to this point, but on this map it makes sense. Get that main wall opened up, but that is the only hard breach they have. So Dez cannot die here. The thing is, they're actually not going to bring smokes on, they're bringing flashes, which makes sense because you have smokes on two other operators. Use those flashes to burn some stuff out. We see Gurf sitting in spawn. I'm wondering if they were AFK for a moment.
Yeah, it's a little curious. Maybe it's just some technical things on the other end. But anyways, the first character found is Laggers downstairs. The Vigil is known, but he's taken one of the drones. His location has been pinched on, and elsewhere, Samwise finding a kill real early on Hangman. The Jackal ping is also going to give a little bit more information for tracking down Laggers for an eventual elimination. He's taking some damage in the gunfight that he's been forced into because of that as he tries to fade his way upstairs. And he's successfully done that. There's no one to pinch out on the top of Solarium. He's got an impact here to maybe check out Town Below and also take away 60L from Goosemitty, which is going to hurt, but maybe not quite the end of the world.
Mila getting a kill onto Gurv, and then the clone getting a shot out. I wasn't sure if that was a clone at first. It was indeed, so lucky for them. They didn't choose to just face check it with their actual body, but some more drones being sent in. There's plenty of time, too, for Waterloo. Shots up from below, almost finding the body. There's the nade that will, though. Samwise, double kill on the round, opening things up for Waterloo. They have the man advantage. We've seen them do well in this kind of situation, but more work needs to be done. They also need to be aware of these drop downs. That hatch that he's looking at right now, that could be a difference maker. We're going to see some defenders are starting to allocate themselves over in the direction that they know this push is coming in from, but so far it's just quiet on the western front.
Yeah, but the attacker should be able to hear these footsteps around from Goosemidi as he's been maneuvering his way back over towards Solarium. Mila, though, will get some work done for him. That way he doesn't have to be aggressive on this side. He can start backing off. Maybe find some opportunity to check the hatch even where there's potential for kills. The attackers are trying to pinch up on him just as they did with Laggers. That was a really decisive kill where they really did just fully outplay him. They had every option covered.
Oh, the pinch coming through. That bathroom player is now being watched from both angles. They really can't escape here, but they don't want to. They don't know that they're here. The shots could come through and find the shots, and they do indeed. They're not aware.
Oh my god, they really don't know he's there.
Providence to the double kill. SMG11 trying to get a third onto their name. Can't quite do it, but their teammates should be able to clean this one up. There's only 20 seconds remaining. They can play their lives here. 1v2 now for Dez on the hard breach op of Thermite. Can they become the Fragmite that we have seen time to time? But here they still have more work to do. They have to push in. The shots coming through are distracting them. They don't know which way to look. They look the wrong way. Mila with the pistol out catches them from the backside. Purdue win round one.
Good SMGs from the defenders, but just as scary when they pull out those two hand cannons. The PMM deceptively heavy firing in this game. It's not the 9mm anymore, as it's going to hit just as hard as the Deagle that was in Goosemidi's hands on the other side of the wall. And that's a rock in a hard place. It's just about impossible to fragmite your way out of that one, especially with a big scope in some small lines of sight. First round going really successfully towards Purdue, even though they took some heavy early pressure. But I saw a lot of those things that I like from Waterloo's attacks here, and I feel confident about it going into the basement site.
They had a man advantage there and then lost it. And I'm not sure exactly where that gunfight took place because it was on the other side, I believe. But it did cost them a lot. And I think part of it, too, is we don't see them, when they have an advantage, we haven't seen them fully like slow down, get more drones thrown out, everyone gather information, and then we'll see what we want to do. We saw the exact decision made in real time. We saw them choose to go upstairs. No one push up solar stairs, and we'll just kind of reallocate ourselves to get this player in bathroom. And it didn't really pay off for them. They could have gained more information. They looked like they were pinching towards bathroom, but they weren't aware of someone actually in the tub itself. Looked like they were maybe trying to play for the rotates or someone pushing in on the door from over by piano, perhaps. It doesn't really make sense to me that they would not drone there, but it cost them big.
Yeah, no, that was 100% lack of drone cost round because Providence was able to just stack down a 2K and find the location. So he had a cost of 3 on that one, finding 2 kills himself and giving an immediate refrag to his teammate. And that's when that spirals it into a 1v2, which is, you know, a lot more than a 1v1.
It's a lot harder to win. In any case, time also not on their side. So while they maybe would have wasted time to drone, it could have not. You think the body count would make up for that time. But either way, they're going to have to now figure out how to attack this new bomb site down in the basement. We've seen this be kind of a weak site oftentimes for the defense, so this could be the chance for Waterloo. We do see that Goosemidi is going to start peeking out. Can't quite find the body. They know someone is pushing in, so they're just doing a peel-back defense here. They're getting shot from many different directions. They're going to get peeked out. Subin getting that kill on Goosemidi. Elsewhere, though, Laggers did find Ultra, so it's still all even in the man cut.
Upstairs, the attackers are doing a nice job of buying space. That's something that they've struggled with on some rounds, even when they find picks, is just not getting ground that they can work with, especially towards site. Hangman on the defense, though, is going to put a stop to some of this. Samwise is a lot of intel perspective on Yana, and all of that has gone down the drain. But there still is hard breach and that ever-present jack of all trades in the Finca.
They're very strong and daring roam, honestly. They've just gone all over the map trying to make Waterloo guess where the bodies will be found, and they haven't really had an answer for it. It's buying a lot of time, too, halfway through this round, and they really haven't seemed to gain much. They had a little bit of control upstairs. They lost that body. Now they're starting to push in. They got the boiler wall, but it is going to mute it off. That one will actually escape the range of the mute jammer, so at least it can allow them to have more lines of sights, but LMG going Burr can't quite net anything just yet. They might know someone's kind of trying to push down here from the side. Doesn't peek at the right time. Dez, though, does find a kill on the Laggers, evening up the man count. A minute to go here. They have a little bit of room to try and get an execute down on site. The Meat Jammer did stop it from moving down any further, though, so they have to push into the door at this point.
Some explosives will also be great right there, but there's not going to be the opportunity for Gerv as he gets C4'd out. Explosives coming back from inside the site. Dez is going to find a kill, though, taking out Hangman and making sure that Roamer, who's been nasty throughout the round, is gone. Providence finds his as he's going to move up pretty lackadaisically and just hit fire right through that, taking out another player. And Suvin is left all alone, far away from the diffuser and with no intel inside objective. With Mila watching the other angle and having plenty of sound cues here to work on, now can just watch hard on the doorway as they pinch together.
And they do indeed pinch together. Mila credited with the kill, but either one of them really could have found it there. And that was kind of odd to me, but Suvin was not near that execute. The flank coming down and then catching a body, and then the shots from sight would have not, if they had not found the player on that breach, then certainly the flank would have gotten the second one anyways. So Suvin not being near his two teammates did not help whatsoever. Pushing on the backside didn't really gain anything. And then his two buddies fall on the other side. That's diffuser down in the 1v2. Had they pushed together, I feel like it could have been a little bit more successful than what we had seen. Obviously, that C4 was really potent and shut down the push through the doorway, but still, perhaps a peek through afterwards would have netted a kill, and you could have tried to do a little bit more. They never cleared off the Meat Jammers to get that wall fully open up either. So there was just some boxes that weren't checked, and it came on the back of Purdue's roam game buying so much for Purdue.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the big things for me, a small action that could have made a big difference, is Gerv just tossing a nade in right behind the display rack and knocking out the Mute Jammer, because while they do have a line of sight, which is worth a line, and netted a kill for his teammate in Dez, but it's not enough for them to get in and have some real pressure for getting into the plant situation. So they can't get that cross angle even if they were to have their teammate Suvin coming down through blue. They didn't have enough pressure to work off of unless those ace charges, the Selmas, could blow their way up the rest of the way through the door. So just tossing out a nade, you don't even have to expose yourself to any of the angles that are actually being played by the defenders. You know, it could be as much as a single button press to just open that up. But I do understand that Gerv was under a lot of pressure. They're constantly in gunfights, so I think that's one of those things that just slipped by.
Painman's not aware there was a drone down in that basement, but they've already moved away from it, so I don't think they can get the shots to the garage wall and kill them. But still, information fed, and they will know that he is the Pulse. So that's some information, at least, that Waterloo can use to avoid a disaster later on. And there it is, Suvin already trying to push and capture. Where did this guy go? And if they can catch him, that would be huge. That is a Pulse down. That is information denied. That is a kill. But you can see them already in sight. Yeah, and so they can't really catch him. But there it is, Providence below. They baited him out, it looks like. And that's going to be the opening kill for Purdue.
What a thing to do. Drop your pulse down through garage to bait someone into canyon so you can have another player playing in small garage. That's galaxy brain right there. An interesting thing I was noticing, Ultra on the Nook, he's got some big shoes to be comparing with as far as all the success that we saw just last map from Laggers on a Nook. So he's got to make this really count, and he's got one grenade down already and a teammate down, so it makes it a little more difficult to make that count. Goose Mini finds a big one here on Ultra, though, and he doesn't get that chance at all. He's just been immediately answered by plenty of guns on that window.
I think it was the Goose Midi who was saved by that shot, because that play probably would have got him. Groove, though, with the LMG gets one, but Mila's there to instantly refrag. These quick peeks from Purdue are shutting down the push from Waterloo. They don't have much answers for it. They can find a body maybe, but then they just lose it almost instantly. This peek out from Mila finds another. They're so aggressive, and they have an SMG-11 in their hands, and that's going to allow them now to have the 4-1 advantage. It's all up to Dez. They don't know what to do here. They're probably going to take a little bit of a timeout. I would advise to try and figure out what they can do.
It does left all alone. Yeah, Mila is getting a little more aggressive after that drop shot. Probably feeling pretty good about himself, but it's not going to be another kill to pad the scoreboard at all. His teammates, 1v3, I wouldn't be surprised if one more of them goes to push pretty immediately. Yeah, but Goose Midi's watching the angle anyways, and a flashbang's not going to stop him at that range. He's just right in the middle of... Yeah, okay. Just standing right in the middle of that hole for a little bit.
No big deal, you know, just hang out, wait.
Yeah. It's only a live fire drill, I guess. Which,
No big deal.
and how do they really explain these ones away? See, there's blood stains. These people are dying. How is this how is this a training exercise between the members of Rainbow Six? I have some questions for the management.
Well, you've seen movies, blood splatter when someone gets
Oh yeah.
shot. You know,
Okay,
they got
okay.
some advanced technology here, Tresh. You know,
I have some
we're
answers
seeing
from the
some
management
CGI.
now.
Yeah, I am management. Looking at this though, it's been more of the same. Purdue, they just haven't slowed down,
Attackers need
and
to
Waterloo
locate
don't
and
have the
defuse
answers. It's apparent, and that isn't necessarily to fault them, as we mentioned before. This is a team that has been at the top of the collegiate scene for some time now. It's hard to contend with them, but at least you'd want to find some success to carry with you. I'm not trying to count them out yet. There's obviously a chance here, but it's not very high. And I think at the very least, you hope to try some new things here. Try some new things. See what you can figure out as a kryptonite to Purdue, because maybe then it'll give you the confidence to move forward. And these guys, like I mentioned, none of them are seniors, so this Waterloo
10
team can
seconds left.
stay together. And then they know that some of those Purdue players are seniors. They won't be here
5
next
seconds
time,
left before
so
insertion.
gives you a little bit more of a chance.
Yeah, that's a spot that might be ripe for the
Attackers are
picking
moving out
next
to locate a
semester. So
bomb.
Waterloo here having a stand-up performance throughout their season and their postseason, even if it ends right here for them on this map in a few rounds, then they've still have put so much on the table here and really made a name for themselves either way. But in this round, they're down 3. They still have this chance. They can take rounds. They can even up their attack side, even to move over to defense. And that's not a terrible place to be either. They're looking to get a map, and that's something that has been prior impossible for any team, including Waterloo in the earlier season.
Well, so far it hasn't happened yet, so we'll have to remain in silence until it has elapsed. But Gerv, on that LMG, hasn't had the success we saw last map. They had gotten a decent number of opening kills, and while Mila getting a shot on the Ultra is technically the opening kill, it is refragged, or at least a trade coming through for Dubin finding a shot onto Providence. But the jump up with the SMG-11 somehow wins out. Samwise probably a bit upset over that, because that was one that you just don't expect to happen. Laggers, though, Gerv does now come alive, activated a little bit, some shots coming through, but Subin can't find anything. Either way, 3v3 is not a bad place for Waterloo. Not even halfway through the round. Plenty of time for them. They have drones in pocket. They have nades in pocket. They can make some more things happen here. They just got to slow down a little bit, work together, get some information, and then get an execute.
Yeah, player counts are still even here, but Mila has been popping off, and some of them in an absolutely showy way, like those last couple of kills. So Mila is almost a raid boss on his own right now, a force to be reckoned with. Some intel is there. They know where he's been stalking around, but there's also a lot of intel for the defense. I mean, that Valkyrie has still been on the table. It's been out here this whole time, having eluded the ban.
Thing, too, is that Hangman and Goosemidi only have 1 and 2 kills apiece, so if they can shut down Mila, certainly, at least in recent times, you're not as scared of these other players. The SMD-11 player getting knocked down would be good. Now, Gurv going to throw an aid, but no one's there. Again, this is why you try and gain some information. He has a drone in pocket, have a minute remaining. Daz at least finding that kill on Hangman allows him to have a little bit more of an advantage, but not being aware of the player on the stairs. Goosemidi will take that freebie all day. Mila, triple on the round now, getting Daz. It's all up to Subin. They have an LMG in hand, certainly doable. But a 1v2 with only about 35 seconds remaining. They're going to start pushing up. Subin is actually waiting, lying in wait here. They might have the information given by teammates, maybe on a drone. Either way, they're going to have to keep checking. They know, though, they can't just wait forever. The time is on the defender's side, and now that's going to give away their position. Looks like he might be trying to bait out this player on the main stairs. He's going to go for the swing. He can find it. He does. Mila shut down now, so Subin could make this happen. Goosemidi pulling out the Deagle instead of the main weapon. Maybe a little bit of BMing, but it could cost them. We'll see. And Subin be aware of it. The shot's coming out. He just turned away the wrong time, and Goosemidi keeps the flawless map going.
Yeah, continuing this reign of Terror 4 in a row on top of the ones that they had in last map. Let's check my notes real quick. Yeah, that is, oh god. That's 5 in a row prior as well. So they're on a roll right here. 9 rounds back to back. Waterloo's had a hard time finding their say in these things. We're back to basement once again, where there was a lot more hope for the Waterloo attack, but they had a couple stop gaps that slowed them down from making their way into sight and finding the plant. But I think we saw those glimmers, and I think we can see some adjustments from it. It's going to be a question, though, of what Purdue is going to be doing to adjust as well.
At this point, it's really Waterloo's turn to adjust because, again, haven't found much success. That was close. At least that round was closest it's been. A 1v1 situation. Unfortunate turning at the wrong time for a couple players. Gerv on the stairs, and then at the end there has allowed bodies to be found when they maybe shouldn't have been. And again, I just want to highlight some of the things that they could do to help themselves. Like, this is constructive criticism. Those drones are in their pockets, and they're not using them oftentimes. And they have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Notice a lot of these engagements happen early on, a minute into the round, still like 2 minutes, at least half the round, a minute and a half remaining, and they just don't use the drones. And it could have had such benefit for them.
Yeah, and the more difficult competition you're going to be getting into, the more important a drone is going to be. They really are an extra life. You've got 3 lives to work with, and if you lose one of those in pocket, you've wasted so much potential. I mean, it's worth more than like a hard breach device a lot of the time, because having yourself there to use the gun, I mean, that's the most valuable resource in Rainbow Six Siege is a player. And you got to keep those alive, and drones, they're worth intel, but they're worth a life. They give you that chance to peek something and hit the reset button.
Had Waterloo known how to save a life, you know, it could have been a different situation. I'm making a reference to the Fry song, and I'm old like that. But looking at
in
the
my
push,
mind, I was thinking this is an opportunity to sing In the Arms of an Angel.
well, whatever song we want to sing, it's probably a sad one so far. Waterloo trying to get a push in through basement here. They know that that's where the bomb site is. So last time we had seen players roaming about, and they're aware of it. So maybe this time they go for a more direct pursuit. But Providence with the shotgun on the instead of the Alda on the Maestro. That's interesting. But Gerb finding one, at least on the Hangman, can even things back up. But certainly an odd selection on the side of Purdue.
Yeah, Gerb, they're just following the tracers back. They see an impact going off, and they know they are being watched from above. And it is Providence still with that ACS-12. It's a select shotgun, so it can keep contesting even through the floorboards.
Oh, no, they're swinging him.
Has this line of sight, but he doesn't have anyone watching his back, and Laggers is happy to bank that one. Moving on, even going to immediately try and find another one all the way down in Garage. He's going to suffer for it, though. But Gooseman, he's poised just around the corner. He's going to get killed as well, while Dez finds 2 kills, sweeping up the rest of this area. His teammate is down, so he's left all alone for now as Providence has to make his way back to site.
He's going to have to go around and pick up his teammate, and if they're aware, they could actually push out and find him here, or at the very least prepare for it. We do see Samwise has gone outside of the building, doing a little bit of a dance in the ground while waiting to get helped up. And it's a 2v2. That push in from Dez did net them a huge benefit, getting those 2 players who overly aggro peaked. They find them from that trench door, and now a 2v2, a minute remaining. Again, though, 2 drones in the pocket of Yana. You have Yana clones. You have 1 drone in Dez's pocket. 50 seconds. Yes, you can clear out some utility like we just saw, but where's the information being gained?
Yeah, gained or gleaned. Either way, it's gotta be received somehow. And there's a couple players watching some tight angles. The ACS-12 is like a DMR in this application. It's gonna just knock out a player, and there we go. Samwise just getting eliminated by it. There's still smokes with Mila as well, who's just been going off. So you've got to go through 2 of these in a row. Okay, the angle is seen. Dez gonna take it as well. That's his 3rd kill. He's just gotta find 1 more in Mila. He's trying to wallbang it, but he's not gonna quite find the mark. So close. We're getting closer every single round to a Waterloo.
How does he do it again?
He can't.
He did it again. He lays behind something. He pops up, and he wins against a gun that is far better. An AK before it was the Finka. What is going on? How does he get away with it? Providence, Mila, I think both of them have done it actually, where they just pop up from behind something and just SMG-11 you in the face.
No, Providence
It's incredible.
and Mila on point right now. Just laying down kills back to back. I mean, there's only 2 deaths on Mila, so he's eclipsed that KD of 2.0 at this point, shooting for the stars. And I love that little whack-a-mole move. Even if you know where he is, you're trying to pre-fire it, you're just losing right now. He's so on fire.
It's crazy. That's all I can say. There's not much more to be said about it, but it's 5-0. 2 more rounds, it'll be a flawless on the last map to cap it off. A 3-0 victory as well. And Waterloo won't have much to take home except for lessons to learn from after seeing a completely different class of team from Purdue. And it's not as if they haven't seen this before in regular season, but it's not as if they're alone in that category either. Like we had mentioned, 2 O's all the way through the regular season and through playoffs up to this point. So Purdue certainly have gained the benefit of the doubt when it comes to just how good they are, what they're capable of. Last map, or last bomb site, excuse me.
10 seconds left.
for them on their defensive half is going to be here in kitchen dining. They're probably going to go for a pretty heavy extension. We've seen it many times, and we'll see if Waterloo can at least try and gain one round and not let this be a flawless.
Yeah, there's Providence up there in the hot tub once again. He's got the ACS-12, and he's going to find his mark eventually. Took a few shots, but the headshot does come out, and Ultra has been dusted. He hasn't found a kill yet on this half, and that's just going to be how it is for him here. He's gunning out. He's got to watch. Oh, no, his teammates looking to rush in. Gurv taking a lot of damage, but he's going to find laggers. Gurv finding that second one as well. He's keeping up the fire as well. Mila is down. And Gooseman's going to try and clean things up, stopping that absolute onslaught. There's 3 players right on him. He's going to go for the repick. Oh, there's a player lying down, but the shots aren't going to connect. Suvin is a little bit unhappy with that one. There's explosions raining out below. Gooseman, he's still going to have to run around while Mila is down. It's all really down to Hangman to hold things up on site. He finds one on Samwise, though.
And the Mila could get helped up still. So it's a 2v2 until that player is helped up, but the push from the side, they're not aware of it. Gooseman gets the refrag. It's essentially a 1v1 with that player down. Now it's up to Dez. He's going to try and bait out. He's not sure where this player is. Can he pop up from behind? Can he get the swing onto him? He's going for it. Can't quite land the shots. And then from the push, he swings and gets the flick. Gurv and Dez each getting credited with those last 2 bodies. One was, of course, the down player. But either way, Waterloo walk away with at least 1 round on the board.
Gurv, he made it happen for the team despite having to jump right through a Surya gate, putting everything on the line. It was that rush strat. It was a desperate play. We've seen it before, and it's frustrating to see sometimes because you see the frustration in the eyes of the players doing it. A lot of the time, they're down 5 rounds on the first half, but anything to make something happen is worth it right there. And they even surmounted that comeback potential from Goosemitty, who had already pulled off an insane 4K to clutch out in the dying moments of a round. He almost did a repeat of map 1 that way.
That's what I was thinking, map 1, but more because of the round count that we find ourselves at. A 5-1 half again. And Purdue, again, on attack, have been better than the defense overall. And that's scary, because they're already up 5 rounds. So now on attack, what can they do? Now, I will say that this is a map where you at least have more angles and trickery that you can do on the defense than, say, a coastline. So on that end of the spectrum, at least Waterloo can feel a little more confident. But at the same time, it's hard to be confident when they've just taken so many rounds against you and you haven't found many of your own. 3 rounds from the previous 2 maps. Now they found a 4th throughout the entire series of 3 maps. It's not a lot to be proud of, but still, at least it gives them not a flawless against them, and now momentum perhaps can be picked up.
Yeah, although on the other side, I feel that, oh, geez. Okay, there's a start. There's a start. Waterloo feeling good. They've got a round in the belts. They've got a first pick on this round, and that's a good one because resources are very important on Chalet. But Purdue is deadly effective on the attack. I'd say they're probably, even scarier that way. And Gurv finds another one as well as Laggers has gone for that Amaru pick and just waltzed his way in through the window we saw before, and it didn't work out for the other team, and it won't work out for him either. Gurv is finally felled, though, despite the kills he was able to find. Oh no! What a missed opportunity.
No, Goosemitty. And then the jump out does net a kill at least. This is kind of going crazy in both directions. Both teams a rush in and then some jump outs. And that nice flick from Samwise though down to Goosemitty. That's also diffuser down, so that's great. But shotgun in hand for the Finka. So if they can get a close engagement here, they might catch them unawares, but they're holding a longer angle. So Samwise should win out on this gunfight if it comes into being. And so it does, but not going to gain anything just yet. But they have awareness of a player on the stairs, so they're going to just play it safe, grab that diffuser, dip out. But 2v3 with the shotgun on one of your players, Purdue have a lot of hard work ahead of them.
Oh, okay, Suvin. That's looking great. A lot more aggression coming up for Waterloo as more of those unexpected plays, just like you said we might get to see here on Chalet, since it's more forgiving than like the coastline that we were on just before. So Providence boosted up with a little bit of HP before he lost his Mila, but still sitting down at 50 health.
Yeah, not a lot to do here. There's a lot of time, too. So, I mean, they could try and gain some information. There are a few, so maybe a cluster charge above if they can gain that control. But the peaks coming through are going to give away their position here in mud. And it's not going to go very well for either side, actually. Neither side gaining any advantage, no health nicked down at all. And this was just going to be time burner. I think Purdue know that the rush strat didn't really pay off for them. The jump out did catch them unawares, so they might have to take this a little bit more seriously than what we'd seen. Obviously, I'm not saying they didn't take it seriously at all, but when you see Amar just jump in like that with no information, you have to start questioning it a little bit.
Yeah, Province here, he's got plenty of bullets. He can just lay down some fire with the LP 641. But it's not really anything more for him to get. Yeah, 30 seconds left, 3 players. He's just going to be baiting for some kills, waiting for the opportunity. I mean, it's technically possible to eke this one out. Province has been doing quite well for himself. Find some damage on Samwise, who's peeking that angle. And it's just continuing the story of this peak between these two. Just continued baits. There we go. Samwise finally finds it. Took him a few chances, especially since the two of them were so elegantly jiggle peeking all of those engagements. But finally, it goes down. There's a second round in the books for Waterloo.
I see some interesting chats going on here between the boys of Purdue, but either way, Waterloo at least have found another route, so they probably feel a lot better. That's 2 in a row. We haven't seen that from them really, so that's really good for them. Yeah. They can start now getting confidence back. They've at least been more willing to take risks, and I mean high value risks, like the jump out we saw, getting that opening pick. Before we've seen them take risks, but it didn't necessarily work out, right? It wasn't the risks that maybe we would have liked to see, or at the very least, it just didn't pay off. Here, though, when it works, and able to carry it into another round win. More to do, though. That was one bomb site. Now they have to go switch to somewhere else. It's kitchen dining, and certainly they have potential, but you can't rely on another jump out to get that opening pick.
Yeah, and there's some more interesting things. Yeah, the Cali's going to go away. I think that one was just for the enjoyment there. But I was thinking it might be really interesting. We've actually seen Mila get some success with that, at least holding down angles. Not huge kills on the last map, but Jelly is even less forgiving for the weird pick of a sniper. The defenders here are going to be bringing some interesting stuff. You got the mute. We got an echo. That's going to be plant denial, a shield, nice gun, and more intel as well. Not using that Valkyrie, which is on the board and was used really heavily by Purdue. And an additional thing is all this attrition between the Castle, Jaeger, Aruni, mute.
It's a lot, yeah, a lot of utility, and certainly not any operators I would call as a weird pick here for Waterloo, or excuse me, for Purdue or Waterloo for that matter. Honestly, both sides seeming to have more traditional.
I'm surprised by the Castle.
Are you?
Yeah. Do you see Castles on kitchen often?
Sometimes, yeah, because it can cut off certain angles, especially upstairs. It can buy you a little bit of time, and you see, there's no sledge either, so it's kind of already going to pay off in a certain sense that they can make them melee it by time or use some other explosive on it now in order to clear them. So we've already gained a little bit of ground there. Subin doing getting downed, and maybe can get help back up. Lager's doing the peeks through. He knows someone's here in the kitchen or bathroom, excuse me, gets that kill. Providence did finish off Subin below, so now they have that 2-man advantage. There's someone coming up the stairs. They get the ping. It gives away that position, and now Gurv, position's given away. They're going to swing out from behind. They find that body as well. Purdue looking like they're getting back into dominating. Samwise has something to say, though. Providence shut down, and Mila, double kill on the round. Some shots coming onto the stairs. They're aware of that too. Samwise, a triple now, bringing it to a 2v2. They're doing a lot of work to keep them in this.
Yeah, that's looking beautiful. It's evened up the player count, and Hangman is still stuck outside of the objective, or the map even. He's got the wall open, though, so that's going to be really nice. It gives him something to work with. And with these drones, this is the exact kind of intel we've been really asking for, is making sure that you're going to have information to work off of. And there we go. Dez has been located, and he's not in a good position to take long-range fights like this. That's why he's been maneuvering around so much. But another defender taken away. Dez is even the one going right there. He's left lying down. He's going to pull away, trying to find some way to escape while the plant goes down. He's got to rotate in and hope to find a head.
And, well, his head is the one being found. Gusmity ready and waiting. That C4 takes so long to throw, and he's already looking in your direction as you peek. There's not a lot of hope there. And as soon as his teammate died, I felt real bad for him, because in a 1v2 in that situation, not a lot you can do there. And it was the teammate Samwise who had done so much work, right? So losing them was kind of the last straw, breaks the camel's back. In this case, though, Purdue now are going to be on map and match point. It's taken a little bit longer than perhaps we had thought after seeing them go up so many rounds in a row, but Waterloo had a little bit of a fight back. Purdue, though, putting a stop to that momentum, winning the last round. Now Waterloo have to choose another bomb site. That one didn't work out, so they're going to try basement.
Yeah, and they're going to have to fight like a cornered rat here to keep in it at all. Down 4 rounds, and Purdue so terrifying when they're on the attack and looking in good fashion last round. They've just got to find one more. The odds are not for them. It's they just have to get lucky once, while Waterloo has to get lucky every single round to bring this one to overtime and make a little bit of history, being the only team to bring Purdue to overtime over the course of this entire season. So odds stacked against them, with the championship on the line in every round going forward.
Basement hold is going to consist of plenty of denial. You got the mute, you got the bandit, you got some Rooney gates in tandem with shields. So there's a lot going on here. There's also going to be, interestingly enough, the echo again. We saw those cams feeding some information, I'm sure, because Samwise got that triple kill that really helped them stay alive last round. Obviously, they still lost, but it's certainly closer than it would have been had he not activated getting those kills. Here, basement, there's a lot of angles they have to be aware of, though. And last time Samwise got a lot of kills from angles that he was able to quick peek. It's not as easy here, but Lager's getting taken out by Hangman helps Waterloo a lot.
Yeah, that's really nice to be working with. And also Mila, the top fragger for the offense, has been taken away from having a gun. Gerv's going to claim this as planned. That's exactly how they want to be taking their victory, apparently. But that's actually going to be definitely a big hurt for them. Maverick opening up a little bit of a hole right here, but there's no denial. Looks like that mute jammer didn't find its mark on the wall. So Ace's Selma charges have a nice little vault hole already prepared. Mila all alone, actually, and Canny is just going to be playing safely until Hangman has the chance to rotate on over.
I think Hangman actually shot that mute jammer from the angle that they had.
Oh, okay.
For whatever reason, I don't know. Gizmity just couldn't see it. But either way, it's opened up like you mentioned. It's a 4v5 still after that TK, so still more work to be done. But Providence evening it back up. Gerv getting shut down. That's a big kill. That's one of the top fraggers on the side of Waterloo. That's the alibi. Not a lot of, utility lost, at least. Shooting through with the pistol, trying to get that electric denial cleared off so they can open up the wall. C4, though, Providence shut down. They had that kill earlier, now no longer able to do much. That's the top fragger dead, except for Mila, but they're a shield op here. They're not going to be fragging out you would expect, at least.
Yeah, and that is a lot of that soft destruction taken away as well. Breaching charges in the pocket are going to be dying, and that doesn't allow for any gunshots from above. Mila is looking to open things up here. Rooney Gate going away. That jammer's still active on that 3 ping, which is a huge problem for the attack. Okay, it looks like they've gone through it just enough here where they can start moving on to try and get the Montaigne execute. And Samwise has taken up his position. He had huge effect on the last round. He's still got these cams available and in their locations. Dez finds Mila.
Pushed in too far. That's all that happened there. They just pushed in too far. Shield taken care of. You see Ultra now hanging on the backside, waiting to flank, and the push coming through. Goosemity is aware of their position. Neither of them finding it, but the swing up from Suvin shuts it all down, and Waterloo find another. This is the most rounds they've found in the matchup so far. That's 3 for them, and they're looking a lot better here on Chalet. And maybe, just maybe, starting to gain some momentum to come back. They have to find 3 more in a row, though, because they are still down and on map and match point.
Yeah, like I said, every single round from here on is a ring, metaphorically, or trophy, definitely, on the on the count. So going to bar and gaming room, they did also find success here. This is the first round that they were playing on the defense, so they'll hope to be replicating that same success. There's not going to be a Montaigne to be contending with this time, and there's not going to be that early team kill either. Hopefully.
Hopefully, right? That's the hope, because that was bad. Bad. No, don't do that. Right? Yeah, it's like yelling at your cat or something. Like, no, stop.
Yeah, don't make me get the spray bottle.
Exactly.
Stop shooting your
maybe
teammates.
maybe that's what they need to do. They're in the same room, I assume. So maybe that's a possibility. Either way, we're gonna see a new bomb site for Waterloo. Back actually to the one they had the first successful win on this map here in the games and bar areas. So I like it. They had the jump out though, right? Gotta keep that in mind. It kind of set the tone for the round. You can't expect that to come through, but then I didn't expect a Team K to come through. So with Purdue, I guess at this moment, I'm not really sure what to expect from them.
They're full of surprises. They really have been all through this series.
Well, looking at the roam here, we're going to see Suvin getting some reinforcements, but I wonder if they're just going to play in the mezzanine above. Not sure what the positions are going to be, but they have at least a shield at the top of blue. So someone's going to definitely be playing there, but last time we saw them just running around the map like crazy, and they don't seem to necessarily be doing that. Now, a peek coming through. This is another spawn peek coming through. The peek coming out, and Mila's ready for it. Pre-fires, Samwise shut down. That's one of those big time players for the side of Waterloo. Not going to be available, and where they had the Echo drones last time, they were speeding information. They've popped off that triple kill. Now, well, they're on the alibi, so it's not as devastating, but still a fragger down doesn't do you any good. Now, the peek's coming through on this window. They're just not going to be aware of it. Gurv shuts down Mila, gets that refrag very quickly. I'm not sure what was going on there on the side of Mila, but that was just too quickly of a push. They were not really giving the respect due to Waterloo. Didn't think anyone was going to be watching that. It's a very basic position, so just a bit odd.
Yeah, that window is a dangerous spot. Not giving it the proper caution can be hugely costly. And Gurv is still here roaming about. He's waiting for some sounds and for some calls from his teammates. Similar to Ultra, who's getting peeked on a little bit. He's got to be suspecting that a drone's going to be coming his way as well, so he's going to have to do something fast before he gets pinned and locked out.
Gusmidi with the hollow on the G36C, it looks like. So this is very odd. Normally, you know, people were rocking that ARX, so just a bit interesting from the choices being made from Purdue, but still, that's a good weapon, so you can't deny that
I
fact.
love both those guys so much.
The R4C, though, in the hands of Providence, is going to shut down Subin, so that's going to give them the man advantage. It's been a little bit since we've seen Purdue do this. At least last map they dominated, yes, in a certain fashion, but this is tit for tat here. Gurv finding laggers is going to allow them to even up the man count. And there's a lot of time being bought right now by Waterloo by shutting down these early aggressive pushes, and they're really giving the ones Purdue is. And in this case, they're really not coming out on top.
Yeah, I like this patience from the defense, holding some angles and some dirty ones at that can just patiently while away lives. But they are down at this point, having lost Ultra. But Gurv doing phenomenally this round. Finds his third kill. He's going to peek around, but not be quite quick enough. He can't ADS fast enough to get Goose Midi. That's actually a big benefit having the G36C for him. And Dez is left all alone inside. He's got a nice close angle, but the head just barely eludes him. And the match goes to Purdue on the back of that one final kill in games.
Ooh, that was a nice shot, too. You didn't even really see him. Just did a quick peek. And a fadeaway shot gets the shot under the head. And that's going to be it for Waterloo. They have fallen now. They had a valiant effort. The best effort they had given was on that last map, the last hurrah. But indeed, it is a 3-0 for Purdue Gold. Champions yet again in the Legends division, just like we had seen a repeat performance. We do have an interview coming forward, but we have a short break before we get there. We'll be right back with that interview.
Welcome back, guys, for our last time on our main stream here for this season. We've just wrapped up with Purdue Gold and Waterloo Gold. Purdue coming out as our overall champions of the Legends division, and wrapping up the rest of this stream. We'll be getting a nice little talk with Providence, the team captain.
Right, Providence is here with us. How are you feeling after the victory?
Feeling well, guys. It's amazing.
Oh no,
I think you're muted, sir.
Feeling
I'm
well,
sorry.
guys.
There we go. Well, walk us through the process here. First, a little bit of an upset in the bracket where the third seed beat the second seed, and then you're against Waterloo Gold now in this matchup. Obviously, you still won pretty handily, but were you expecting that? Did you have any concerns going into this matchup?
I don't know that we had any concerns. I mean, we played Waterloo before. We've also played Columbia before, which was a fun little show match. But so, I mean, I think we knew what we were getting ourselves into, and we're pretty well prepared. So.
Yeah, you guys seem pretty prepared there. And I would venture to say is some of these moments, you guys look like you're just having fun with it. When do you think that you guys were most vibing in that stack and just enjoying your time there? Because I know what was happening. And this, it's a championship match, but you guys were clearly having some fun.
Yeah, so some of you may know, if you follow the collegiate scene, we went out much earlier in UCC, in the Unified Collegiate Championship, than we had maybe expected to, or other people had expected us to, which was kind of a bummer for us. But so we're just focusing on having fun as a team and sort of enjoying. We'll be disbanding after this season, so we're just trying to get the most out of our play time together. And the majority of us live together and stuff, so we're all really good friends, and so we're just having fun.
Well, with that in mind, how about you just let us know, what are the plans then? You guys are going to disband? Do you have personal plans? Do you know what your buddies are going to be doing? We're curious to know what the path forward will be.
Yeah, so I myself, I've been working for a company for a while here, so I'm going to be working for them in Chicago, so I'm graduating. Gooseman is going to be going on to the Valorant team at Purdue, so we're excited for him to see what he can do over there. Hangman himself is going to go try to play T3, so look for him on some of those T3 leagues. And then my man M. Laggers, of course, he's probably going to try to go get some esports job somewhere. Some of you know he's a awesome land planner and has been working for Faceit. So, and then Mila, good old Mila, he's got 1 year left of school. He's going to focus on that. So that's what's on the table for him. So.
All right. Nice to see the stories. I'll think it's nice to watch you guys go off and do a lot, especially since you're all probably going to be staying in the scene to some degree or another, it sounds like. So we'll see a nice, very successful collegiate team here continuing on, and for success, I'm sure, in many other facets in your life coming up. But it is sad to see such a prestigious team go away, but it's on a sweet note here at the very least. And I think going back to another fun thing there, you're telling us a little story about that nitro cell that came your way while you were on Villa a little bit earlier in map 2. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the very last round there of Chalet, I kind of crouch walked down blue and got a pick, and then I walked back up and I was in mud, and somehow I got totally spooked and opened some overlay on my computer and started spinning in circles and got C4'd. And I clipped it. I was just screaming the entire time while spinning in circles. So that was a pretty funny thing that happened there. So,
well, it's the last round too, so that's the way it ended for you.
Exactly.
I want to know the way to end it. But we do want to congratulate you. We want to make sure that this moment is sealed in NECC history, but also hopefully sealed in your memories. We have Jacob here to help present the honor.
Hey, my friend, how are you? Good to see you.
Doing great, thanks.
I just wanted to congratulate you guys. Obviously, we've enjoyed working with you at Purdue and defending your championship here tonight. Obviously, getting to know Matt. I'm excited for his future. Obviously, excited for the rest of you guys. Congratulations to you on your position going forward there. So, yeah, I just want to present you. We'll get you. You know what these look like. You've gotten all these before. You'll get another one out there. You get the shirts, but just want to say congratulations. Obviously, it's a little bit bittersweet to have you guys disbanding at the end, but we'll see you at Nationals. We're looking forward to watching you compete that. I know you'd like to go out on top. You talked about sort of playing the end of this and playing it through, and I assume that ending it with a nice paycheck probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world before you guys go your separate ways. So congratulations once again, my friend. It's been awesome to watch you, and we look forward to doing it more in the future in the next couple of weeks in Nationals.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we really appreciate it, both as a team, the R6 team, and just we have a bunch of esports teams that are competing in NECC in general. So the Esports of Purdue organization is really thankful for that as well. It's been a great organization.
I appreciate that, my friend. We'll see you in a couple weeks. We look forward to it. But tonight, enjoy this one. Congratulations. And we'll talk to you in the future.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this stream. We're still rolling over there on NECC2. That's Rio Grande and Lebanon Valley rolling there. But tonight, this one's about Purdue defending their Legends Division Championship. For Wes, for Tresh, for our entire team, we'll talk to you in the future right here on the NECC Network. Have a good night.